device. Fuck you. Do I really have to rotate it? Can't I do it the other way? Alright. Fuck you, YouTube. I would have done it the other way. If you want to be a dick about it, that's fine, YouTube. Be a dick. Be a big old bramble-ass shaped dick. Alrighty. Hold on. I was not expecting sideways view, so if you're waiting on me, hold on. I'm all new to this, so hold on. Let me do live chat. All messages visible. Can't tell. Someone comment. I have no idea if I can see your comments. if somebody's actually there, be like, Booby Tit McGee's, because that would be nice to know right now. I have no idea. I literally have no idea. Maybe this is working. Maybe it's not working. Yeah. Oh, okay. I have an I am. I have a one I am. I am. Sam, I am. You am, motherfuckers. Cool. I don't know who you are, Mr. Glizzy King. Mr. or Mrs. Glizzy King of the Glizzy Kings. I don't fucking know. I'm not you. I'm getting my if you're new to Talking Tremors and you're watching the live, you know that you're in for a whole bunch of fucking bullshit. And I gotta like about ready. Let me drink a little more water here. I tried to let everyone I know, everyone I could know about it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to know about it either. So I'm hoping that this works. Here, that's going there. That's going there. Word sounds. We'll give about 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. And then we got right there. Is Tremors queer? So if you're not set for that discussion on is Tremors queer, you might want to back out now. Or you might want to tell everybody to come fucking make fun of me. And be like, boy, you're stupid. You fucking, you're destroying Tremors. You're destroying Tremors by making it something I didn't. Okay, I didn't mean to make it retarded. I'm not ableist. Let me do that. You're destroying Tremors because, and I'm still doing. Now listen, I believe that you're destroying Tremors by making it a queer phenomenon. Actually, in my semi-professional opinion as comic book guy, let me tell you how you're fucking dumbass. You know what? It's kind of funny. I always laugh at how we self-edit and we make words sound better in our head. And every time I say dumbass, I'm always thinking that's the same thing as retard. Why are we like? There's a level of like we hate people for not knowing things or being dumb, and you know what? For being dumb, because I have no problem shitting on people for not knowing things. I will fucking take you to court for it, and it's not so much just because you don't know something. It's when you're like, I don't need to know about it. Fuck you. Fuck a bunch of you. I will come at you so hard. Yeah. Fuck a bunch of you. And on that note, it's a time for some podcasting. Pump, pump. I hope you keep on listening. Cause it's time for Talking Tremors shit. Talking Tremors shit. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the first YouTube live episode of Talking Tremors. I am your host, Levi Dylan Burzlaw Flat, and you can go fuck yourself. I got 4 names. I took my wife's last name, and she took mine too, because that's called equality, motherfuckers. mother humper. I don't really get mother humpers, motherfuckers. Everybody. It's all the words count. All of them are good. Color with every aspect of the rainbow that you need to, which is the theme of tonight. I love how I do that, where I don't even realize I'm talking inside of a theme, and then I go like, "Hey, that works." Boom, 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 boom. If you didn't fucking know, we're gonna be talking about fucking, or actually the aspect of Tremors where the queerness of it. All right. And before anybody's like, blah, 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 I don't want to hear this. My mom listens to this podcast, and I think my dad does too, maybe, and the rest of my family, and a whole bunch of friends and relatives. I even apparently, my mom was telling me that she was listening to it with one of my nephews. So hopefully the episode title is Tremors Queer is a big indicator that we're gonna be NSFW in this mofo. Really like, yes, Edwin, yeah, sex. Not really. That's what this discussion is going to be about in terms of queerness, because that also applies to asexuality, which is that level of like you're not sexy, but there's like, or you go both way, pansexuality too, where it's all the different directions. We're gonna be like the dean from Community, and if being whatever is a magic show, then and gayness is pulling a rabbit out of a hat, then I'm one of those never-ending handkerchiefs. That's what this episode discussion we're gonna be doing here. Yes, there's a mix of everything. And if you're listening and you're watching along, I will be calling out your comments as they happen. So if you have anything that you need to say, or you want to be like, "You're fucking wrong, dude," um, you could tell me. As Edwin, well, I'm a peanut bar, and I'm here to say your checks will arrive on another day, another dollar, another rhyme, another collar, another stuffed shirt, and another white collar. Wall Street criminals taking the pies, and all the black man gets is a plate of white lies. Wall Street polluting, and the criminals diluting, and Barack Obama is scared of me, because I don't swallow knowledge, and I spit it for free, so let me clear my throat. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. That's for all the Community fans. I hope you got that. If you didn't get that, go to your Netflix accounts right now, or you know what, pirate it. I can't even say don't fucking buy anything anymore, man. It's just pirate the shit out of everything. Yeah, you know what you should buy? Books. That's about it. Buy great books, like the Tremors Guide or Tucker's Monster. Go binge watch. Go pirate something. Go pirate Community. I say that. Go pirate Community, and and go watch it. Yes, Edwin's right. Even season 4, because it lets you know what's good and what's not. You have to understand the bad of something to understand why something is good. That is why when I started this podcast, I started with Tremors 5, 6, and 7. And I was like, let's try to, to understand this. And I still don't fucking understand it. Also, in terms of segue, it's a big reason why we're going to be having this discussion tonight. And I want, like, there's anybody out there in the lands of the YouTube or the Twitters or the TikToks or the Imgurs or the Reddits or the Facebooks, and you have anything to say to me on this, I want you to fight back. And I don't mean fight back. We need to have a healthy debate about this, because it keeps coming up all of the fucking time. And I think it's going to be a really good discourse on why we read into things like that, or if we are reading into things, if that is truly happening, or if that's not happening. So if you didn't know, we're going to be talking about how queer is Tremors. I brought it up a bunch. I hope you get it. You're 10 minutes in and you should know this. Run away now. If you don't want to hear that, turn it off. Turn it off now. Because I mean, to start it off, like, so this is from my own personal experience. It is not something that I fucking think of. I have loved Tremors ever since I was a kid. If you I watched Tremors 2 first, and weirdly enough, which has Kate being a Playboy model in it, and yet it never occurred to me until I saw everybody else talking about it that there was some sexual aspect to Tremors in this way. But I have to fully admit though that once I heard it, and then I've heard some really good points on it, and I'm just like, maybe you're right. And if you're watching and you can see from the podcast, I'm a lovely transgendered lady. I'm a man that looks like a woman that's trying to go that direction. So I think I have a very good idea of what we're looking at for this in terms of what it's hidden. And Edwin just said it's weird when someone talks about Tremors in a sexual context. Like, I completely agree. um I don't know how to feel about it either. But again, it's there. It's 100% there. And it's not, and it's totally something that we need to grab and look into the face. And I'm saying that again as a transgendered person. I was just talking to, there's a new podcast listener, Conan the Cimmerian. Um, it's yeah. And then yeah, what Edwin just said, Rosalita being a bit of a playboy, um, and what I had it. Hold on, I just got lost. I'll bring it back. I'll reel it back. I'll reel it back in there. I was talking to Conan, the Cimmerian, and telling him, uh, uh, yes, yeah, because the graboid butt plugs. But I mean, I'm not. I don't think it's just relegated to outside of the movies. There's Conan. Ah, cool. Yeah, I was just talking about you. Where it's like this is not something that I personally have to have seen, or it was my perspective for me to not have heard it and been like, I think that's there's something to that. There's totally something to that. And the big part of the reason that I decided this was a good idea to have this topic was that when I read the Beneath Perfection script like 2 weeks ago, which if you like this podcast and you like what I'm doing, I highly recommend it. I read the 1988 June 21st draft of Tremors, which was called Beneath Perfection, which was Tremors' original name. Until Universal was like, oh, we can't sell that. We have to sell to the Japanese people, and they only like earthquakes. Talk about dumbing down of something. Uh, and it's fucking gay. It's really okay. Uh, I'm gonna. Let me reel that back. It's not gay. It's really queer, or it's masturbatory, and I want everybody, even if you don't listen to me do that script, and I do a great job reading the script. I'm fucking awesome all by myself. Toot my own horn. Boop boop boop. But I want you to notice in the first Tremors movie how much this happens. If you look at the rock, the as it's called in the script, the challenge. Look at the scissors rock paper thing, and you can't tell me that it's just not a constant like Val and Earl like masturbating, who can like come faster, kind of a thing. And I'm not saying that to be gross or anything like that. It's more of a like that's their friendship. That's what's happening. And as a way of getting this out of the way first, I do not think that Val and Earl are particularly gay for each other. That's not what this is about. I can see, and this is the Horror Queers podcast with Joseph Lipsett, Trace Thurman, and Cooper S. Beckett. They did a really great episode on this, on the queerness of Tremors, and they really like leaned in hard to the like Val and Earl are fuck buddies thing. And I think and I want to like there's and yes, Edwin, it could be it's a subconscious thing, and I think there are some people when they come to it, they're bringing their own personal experience and talking about it from that sense of just like, I am gay, so I'm looking at that through that lens. And I can't, like I said, I don't think that they're gay. But there's something there, and in pointing that out, I do want people to look at the movie from the perspective of like if those guys are really really good friends. Like that's what I like, and we'll talk about Steve and Brent, which I pray to God that Steve Steve SS Wilson, if you're listening, like I want you to tell me if I'm wrong, man. Like, because he might be. He does listen to this podcast, and he does have his own YouTube channel. So, like, yeah. And Edwin just said it's a very good relationship where they're comfortable without every bit of irony. And I really do think that. Like, and it's, but you could totally see where it's like, well, I mean, they were like sleeping out in the middle of the desert by themselves. Like the beginning of the movie, and I always love it. The foreshadow of the movie, where it's the end and Stumpy comes out, is about a sleeping bag. One of the main thematic images is a sleeping bag, like that you fuck it. I don't need, but and I do mean that, cause and halfway get to what I'm going to be talking about, Steve. And that's an army thing. That's a bros being bros, boys being boys together, and you're stuck out there alone. And hey, you know what? Who doesn't like a good handy with each other? Not me personally. That doesn't mean that other people aren't into it, though. I have to say, even as a transgender person, I'm a total transgender lesbian. Penises are weird for me. Like, just, yeah. But you know what? That doesn't mean that two dudes out in the middle of the fucking desert are just fucking and like, hey man, we got done doing that fence, and yeah, we did a pretty good job with that fence, Earl. Yeah, you want to hammer my penis? Just to be absolutely blunt about it. And and this is where I say, is Tremors queer? That's queer to me. That's not. There's a level of that's not even gay. Like, and I think Edwin, you might lean that way. So please tell me if I'm like wrong on that. But that doesn't necessarily. It doesn't. It's not. It's not gays when it's just two dudes. Subconscious things are valid to a quality queer reading, as I wanted to pull my hair out every time the same few people made the same predictable queer or femme take. That was Conan, and I agree. And Glizzy King, they're also comfortable talking about their weaknesses, which is their pecker. I'm a victim of circumstance. I want you called it your pecker. Like it's just bros being bros, man. Like that's like that. And the Horror Queers podcast, and this is where I was a huge fan of their episode, because they actually said that. They actually straight up were like, we're coming at this from our own personal lens of being gay, but that doesn't mean that that's how it was written, but that's what we're seeing. But then they went on, and there's I love what they end up saying, where there's a concept called homosociality. Yeah, Val apparently has a MISA, small, slick, and Earl knows. I don't want to know what that acronym stands for. MSA, if you're gay and you know what an MSA is, we don't need to go further, or you can tell me. That's entirely up to you. But the Horror Queers podcast guys were talking about a concept of homosociality, which is where I'm really leaning towards this, where it's bros being bros, and they're very comfortable with each other, and it's not like they just don't care, like, hey, we like free love, that kind of thing. And somebody actually legit asked me, not here, I get getting the bro no homo take from the Val and Earl relationship. That's another part of it. Actually, there was I think it was a Spanish podcast that I was listening to, or maybe it was a TikTok that I was watching, that thought Val and Earl were brothers. And that's my take on like, I know that they're not. I know that they're not brothers. Like, that's not. Please do not quote me on the podcast and because they're not brothers. Their last names are entirely different. They didn't come from different dads or mothers or anything like that. They're not brothers. But that's more my read on the relationship. Oh, and to go further, truly, like I said, I do not think that Val and Earl are gay, but I totally think that they're bi because there's Rhonda. And that's where Tremors, I'm asking, is Tremors queer? Because you add Rhonda to the mix, and it's just like, so, like the threesome thing. I see this. Like, you guys, and I've made this joke in the podcast before, where if it's a threesome, it's not the boys don't pass Rhonda around. Rhonda and Earl pass Val around. He is their bottom. He is their I don't again, I'm not like you'd think that me being transgendered and like having these opinions and stuff that would be way more sexually tuned, but I don't know jack shit about like what's the twink, what's the twank, what's an otter, what's a seal, what's a bear, what's a walrus. uh that was all just Sunny. I was just going off of what I know from It's Always Sunny. uh but I really do and there's a strong case to be made about this uh in reading the Beneath Perfection script, where it's like, yeah, no, they're not gay, but they are bi. And you know what, maybe it's not that they're with each other, because when I say that bi, you're obviously going to think that it's, the two guys. It's like, but you know what, man, like, they're swingers and they're into the like Rhonda, like, she's there. But this is the crazy thing about the original Beneath Perfection script. And again, this is another one that the horror queers guys got right without even knowing it, without even knowing everything that I'm about to say. The original script ends with Val and Earl. There's no Rhonda kiss. There's that Rhonda kiss that happens is a studio decision because everybody in the theater was chanting "Kiss her, kiss her." Ron Underwood talks about this on several of the Beneath Perfection, Making Perfection featurette things, and it got added. It got added late in the game that the movie ends with them kissing. So I cannot sit here and say that the intent the entire time was that Val and Rhonda are supposed to end up together. Because, and this is where I really love the original ending, because you have throughout the whole movie, Earl is basically trying to be a wingman to Val. He's trying to set him up and trying to get things going for him. And but then Earl is not, and not just like, this is where I love about the script does a better job of it than it's conveyed in the movie, because you only get this at the beginning of the movie when Earl is talking about, we could check out the seismographs for her. I don't know. Sure might be a slick way to get to know her though. And he's into Rhonda, and but then Val pretends like he's not, and we go down that road. In the original script, it's much more of a like, Earl is like, dude, you ain't gonna go after her. I'm gonna go for it. Like, I don't care. And it literally ends with like, Val, oh yeah, I'm not gonna notice that Rhonda's into me. And Earl's like, dude, you know what? I don't care. Maybe I'm gonna go take my shot. Cause she's pretty goddamn cool. And I think that she's a catch. And I'm a catch too. Like that's it. Like I'm paraphrasing, but that is Earl's mentality at the end of it all. And the way that the original script ends is that these two are like driving off, and they literally have a challenge about who gets to have Rhonda. And I think that is a huge indicator that there's something a little bit more, what I like to refer to as free lovey about it. It's very 60s, 70s free love, like, hey man, like, everybody, let's have equality. People are respecting each other. And they end, who gets to have her most. And I think Earl should have. Not really, because Earl gets Kate in the end, but he respected her. He respected her more than Val did. So that is my. The script says this, and like I said, the script has lots of other, like, just, you can tell that Val's not. He's into Rhonda, but he's just not into her at all. and it's way more Earl is on that side of the relationship. So maybe there's a level two where that got rejiggered, as you're editing and making things more um, streamlined, I guess is the word for it. But that's my as an honest. It's not that's pretty queer to me. Those guys having a wank over who gets to have Rhonda. And you know what? Maybe and there's a level that's a straight thing too, where it's like, but then you got to ask your like, is that a straight thing? Is that an entirely straight thing that like two guys are just masturbating over who gets to have a girl? It's a little more like that's where it's like, I'm glad things get changed here in the end, and it's why I'm talking about it out loud, and I want people to punch me back. I know that we got three of them in here, and they all went silent on me as I started talking about this. So, like, guys, if you're feeling me and I'm wrong, I want you to slap my titties. Tell me I'm off. Um, because here, like, I do have, like I said, I do have a whole like I don't do this podcast without having notes unless I know it's something I can do without notes. But this was one I really wanted to go on, and I have to. If Tremors was woke, and it totally was, I fucking motherfucking proved that in that fucking Tremors was woke episode. I didn't think I would, but I really did. If Tremors was woke, how can it also be queer? And it's not. I don't mean gay, and I don't mean just straight. I mean, let's call it sexually ambiguous. That's my best term for it. And to go back to the homosociality thing that I was talking with the horror queers was that can people just love each other and there's no they don't even need that sexual aspect of it because that in and of itself is why I use the word queer when titling this and why I'm focusing on it. I've said it about 18,000 fucking times already because like can we not do that? Can we not have perfectly healthy, loving relationships with people that aren't just entirely devoted to the concept of sex every single fucking moment? And I think that Val and Earl are like a shining example. I'm pointing at the Beatles for some reason as I'm doing that. I'd like to, I don't have anybody over here to point at. Like, can't we do that? Because I think that's way cooler. And that's where that people like, oh, the Tremors was woke thing, and they would just like talk about people firing back on me. But that's what I mean, where it's, true wokeness, waking up from the machine, waking up from the matrix, and like finding out the reality of your situation is being real and being vulnerable. A couple of the people in the chats already have talked about that, where they're okay with being vulnerable and weak with each other. And I think that is so much more valuable than any kind of like, put your dick in my mouth. And again, that's not to shit on that. Because if you want a dick in your mouth or your asshole or you want vag on your face, bro, whatever, man. You do you. But then there's also, this is a concept that I've learned about because I've had friends that do this. The asexual concept of like they're not even they just want relationships with people and they don't even want to bring that into it. Like there's like, which is, I mean, more power to you. Awesome, great. Some of us don't, others do. Who cares? That's why I said the queer thing. And I want, when I use that word, I want everyone to think of queer as its original term: strange, off, weird, just a little bit different, just not what you're normally used to. I know that people, and this is something I've had to learn as I do this podcast. I know how into people are into me. Like I get it. You think I'm hot? I've got a whole David Bowie androgynous thing going on. No, good. That's good. You go masturbate to me and whatever. But I'm gonna be here by myself. My wife, actually, she's at Walmart. But you know what? She's gonna be watching this back later and just having a fucking laugh at this whole thing. And like, yeah, man, like you do you. You do you. I'm gonna be over here doing my thing. And so yeah, if Tremors can be woke, I totally think that it can be queer. And Conan, you're my like I want. It's like I'm waiting for like your comments to pop up because you're the one. If I'm shooting for someone, I know Edwin's halfway on my side about this. I don't know about you, Mr. or Mrs. Mixter Glizzy King, uh, ambiguous name there. But Conan, like I know, like this is the point of the discussion. Um, to the point that then now I want to bring up. If you've never seen it, there's this Facebook group called Memetep's Mummy Memes. And if you ever want to discover people, I was gonna say unnecessarily overly reading into something, there's the concept of 1999 cinematic masterpiece The Mummy was my bisexual awakening. And this is actually something that I've seen people say about Tremors in the same breath, in the same idea. And again, I've only ever had eyes for Rhonda. She's dope, but I see where people are like, yeah, but you know what, Kevin Bacon, like Moon, like Kevin Bacon made me feel things. There's a large number of people that are like, Kevin Bacon made me gay. Like Kevin Bacon and Tremors made me gay. I'm like, I mean, I get it. And like you watch, I always look at gifs of Kevin Bacon anymore, and it's like he's got that long flowy hair thing, and it's like, oh yeah, you would just get caught up in like, is he or isn't he? Like, ooh, I don't know. I'm into it though. And so there's a lot of people that have had their bisexual, homosexual awakening via Kevin Bacon and Tremors. But then, and this is the one I agree with more, then there's Earl, where people are like, yeah, but man, I like Earl to take me home and like be my rough daddy. It's like, oh, okay, that's not okay then, I guess. Like, bravo for you. And and there's even cooler. This is actually the one that I really, really like. Is that when people are like, Bert and Heather are swingers. They're totally like those two. That there's a button in the bunker that they press, and then the disco lights come down, and the colors are everywhere, and they've got their ecstasy punch. Not really, whatever 90s that would be. And yeah, Bert and Heather are totally the town swingers, swinging and a dinging. And so that's where like this meme with Tep's mummy memes has kind of made me realize that like there is this very very valid concept of bisexual awakenings from movies that read what you would think are straight. Like in the Mummy, Evie and Rick, that's a straight. And again, talk about a married couple that everybody should like strive for. That's The Mummy Returns might be my favorite of the two for that reason, where it's like those two just that relationship. I just absolutely it tickles me to no end. But that doesn't mean that people aren't seeing something and like, hey, I'm getting turned on by this. This may not have been the original creator's intention, but it's a certain death of the author thing where it's like, yeah, but you know what, like why not? I saw an image of all of the characters in the Mummy that like somebody had characterized them and just made them like super chiseled and shit, and they all had boobs. Like, and it's just like, and I don't mean that like their pecs, like on the men, like on Rick and Emotep and Ardith Bay, like their pecs were just like fucking like they were bigger than Evie's. Popping my boobs around, like they were. I was just like, Jesus Christ. But also, okay, I see what you're getting at. I may not be into it myself. That does not mean that you're not having a valid reaction to that. It's really like, and that leads into my next thing of this. So then, but why? But so then, why are queer fans reading this? Like, why is this happening? Like, legitimately, like that's where I wish there was people in the discussion like, but like, why? Like why is that there? And I have to think that there's not a lot of action adventure horror movies, monster movies, things like that that even give that are middling. I guess sexually middling is what I'll talk about here. I said this is so weird for me because I know my mom's gonna like listen to this podcast later, and I'm like, oh my god. All right, but I have to give this credit, this topic its due credit. And there's not a lot of horror movies, action adventure movies that ride this that sexually androgynous, ambiguous lens. So when there is something, I think that there are fans that are latching onto it because that's some like, hey, that's something that I can recognize, that's a part of me that I see some of myself in, and that's making me feel better about it. And I think that's a really, I think that's a really valid thing, and I think that's as a creation grows and starts to become its own thing, that is something that we have to recognize and be like, okay, yeah, I mean, why not? Like, I may not see it, but you are. And that doesn't make my interpretation any less valid than yours. The only time it does is, like I said, when you plug your ears and go, I don't want to hear it. That's when I stop caring about your opinion at all. I really like. I love hearing everybody's opinions, but the minute you go like, la, 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 I don't want to hear it, it's bad, is when I want to shut off. And to that note, this is kind of why I feel it's really important to be having this episode, is that there is a big section. No, I'm not going to call it a big section. Let's call it a vocal minority of Tremors fans that the instant that this topic even gets brought up is just straight fucking, fuck you! You can't call Tremors gay! Don't you understand, you queer sexuals? You're making my favorite movie gay! And I come from Texas, so I'm allowed to make that accent as much as I want to. And you can all fuck off. But I really do mean that. Where it's like, and it's bad. It is bad. It's not. Twitter's not so bad about it. Twitter's a great place for it. I've seen a lot there. You're all great. This is a Facebook phenomenon. And if you ever want to see it, go to the Tremors Saga's Facebook group. They have a whole Facebook group that they run too. And go to any post about the furries, the Tremors and the furries. Holy fucking shit, man. Or Val and Rhonda being Val, Earl and Rhonda being bi, or any kind of suggestion that like people could be leading a different life behind closed doors of the movie that we're watching. We only see an hour and a half of these people's lives, yet like the way that you just like we can't be gay. I don't know what to do if they were gay. But and then I'd have to reevaluate my entire life because maybe I'm gay. And I really do mean that. That's where I like what the three people that I have in the topic in the conversation right now, guys and gals that I'm talking to, you three. I've appreciated what you've all said on Twitter so far, and I thank you for that. Because it's not that. There's a level of resistance. I don't, and that's where it's like there's a level of resistance and pushback as I've had myself on the idea. But man, I have seen some motherfuckers just like, we need to purge the gayness from Tremors with fire. We need to get out our guns and kill all the queer homosexuals who want to get eaten by graboids sexually. And that's where I have to say, like, I think it's so fucking weird that people want to get eaten by graboids sexually. I think, and that's my personal opinion, and I don't want, if there's people that make the graboid furry porn, I've talked about this lots of times on this podcast. You know what, guys? More power to you. I can't say that it's bad art. You do great jobs with it. I wish that I didn't have to see it so much, but that doesn't mean that I I take that back because it's like it's not that I don't wish that I had to see it so much. It's more just like, man, that's just fucking weird, dude. Holy shit. Okay, that's something. I'm gonna take a bite of that. I'm gonna digest it. and I'm gonna get back to you on that. That's that's some strange shit. That's some strange shit. And it sounds like I'm kink shaming, and I'm really not trying to, but it is. It's some strange shit, dog. Uh, so it's not. I can't sit here and be like, that's why I'm supporting this. Is it's like, yeah, I masturbate to that graboid with the big boobs, and just like, no, I do not. And in fact, as I've said several times on this podcast, I take glorious offense to the fact that the graboids and the shriekers and the ass blasters that are sexualized are not sexualized androgynistically, because they should be, because graboids, shriekers, and ass blasters don't have a pre-assigned sex. They're asexual hermaphrodites. So if you're listening to this and you make your graboid porn, please make it with penises and dicks. Or no, sorry, penises and dicks. Make it with boobs and dicks. Make it with boobs that have dicks coming out as nipples. But you got to, guys. You're not. It's not canonically accurate. That's always my problem with it. That's where I come at it from. Literally come at it from. Is that's not right. That's not how they'd look. I take offense. That's wrong. Really, I do. I get caught up in it all the time because I'm just like, that's wrong. That's not. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. But that's not how other people are. That's not the ones that I'm talking about here. That's not their. Oh, your grandboy don't have a penis and a vagina. I'm super mad at you. That's not what they do. It's very much, we have to purge this with fire and get rid of it, and we're done with it forever. And whenever anybody does that kind of thing, I want to go like, well, I just want to preserve this. Then, if you want to purge it with fire, well, you know what? The furries just found their biggest defender in terms of that, because it's like, all right, guys, they want to kill you, and I don't really give a shit, but like, I don't want anyone to die because they masturbate to graboids. So, flag planted. Fuck off, man. Fuck off. And it does. It really pisses me off because it hurts. Again, I was making a lot of jokes there, but there's a personal offense. Not there's a personal attack that I feel there, where it's like you're just hating anything that's weird. And I always think like, man, if any of you knew that I was transgendered, how much would you like try to kill me in that same sense? Something that people like that have experienced for a long time. That is not a new phenomenon, and it very sadly is so. Which is where Tremors being what it is in terms of queerness, I often wonder about Steve and Brent. Steve S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock. They are writing partners. And you know what? Steve had two wives. I can never find anything about Brent's wife. I just found out I actually got something wrong in my last episode, the Beneath Perfection one, about Ron. Ron does have a wife. Ron has a wife and a daughter. So there's that level to it too. But I wonder, as I was talking about in the beginning, because Steve comes from that Army background. He was a Vietnam draftee, like legitimately, and then Brent Maddock is a New York hippie, and I have questions. Like, I've never got to ask Steve personally this question, but I would if I actually had the chance to sit down and do that. But I did. I do have to say this. I did get to meet Steve. I got to meet Steve S.S. Wilson 2 weeks ago, and I gotta point this out too. This is so cool. I got him to sign. I didn't get him to. I didn't want him to sign any Tremor shit, so I got him to sign Tucker's. So I got a Tucker's Monster from Steve, and then this is the big one: Puppets and People. And I love Steve's inscription in this. Where was it? Hold on, I'm trying to find it quick here. To Levi. how did you find this? Because this book is next to impossible to find for anything less than like $200. Like this Puppets and People by Steve S.S. Wilson. Trying to show it off to both cameras there. Um, and it's a great book about animation, and not drawing animation, animatronic animation, physically moving puppets and stuff around like stop motion. And Steve was just so impressed that I managed to find this book. And how did you find this? And I met Steve, and he God, talk about a cute little old dude. Yeah, and I don't want to say old because he's about like 55 or 60. Like he's about the same age as my parents. I was actually picturing him much older, but he has no gray hair. Like I was like, what the fuck? I met his son Matt too. Actually, this is double cool. Matt Wilson, who is in Tremors 3 in the first tour group with Desert Jack. He's at, hey man, we didn't even get to see anything cool. That's all you want to see. And then in Tremors 4, he plays one of the Walter brothers, uh, Stony, Brick and Stony, which is funny, Brick and Stony. But I got Matt to sign this one too. So thanks for coming to the reading, which is like, fuck yeah, bro. Of course, man. So my first signage in the book is from Matt Wilson himself. And if you watch Tremors The Lost Tapes, Matt's been there since the beginning too. Matt's been in the background of shit as a little 5-year-old or whatever, but he's always been there. So this is a huge other people like they like to, when you're fanboy and you go for the obvious things. Me, man, I like to let people know that they're special and go out of the way and show them that I care about them a little bit more. I don't think Matt had ever been asked to, like, the way he was acting was like, I don't think he'd ever been asked to sign anything. And I was like, dude, why the fuck not, man? You're Matt Wilson. It's dope. But having met Steve, I go back to, it's not the straight gayness, man, but it's like, like on a cold night, two dudes out there, and they're just feeling it. And I always kind of thought that Steve and Brent are a bit trippy hippies in that sense. Where, and in fact, as I was listening to the reading of Blank Slate, Matt and his friends were talking about microdosing on shrooms, and they were all laughing on stage about it. And it's just kind of like, so was I right about that? Because I feel like I might have been. Because like his dad's literally in the audience, and he's talking with his friends about microdosing. Um, and I think I do. I have my question and I have my thoughts, and I wonder. I'm gonna, and I like that silence as I wonder. Maybe. And again, Steve, if you're listening, I think you're a great fucking guy, like amazing. Steve actually came up to me and he heard me talking in the bar and was like, "Hey, aren't you Levi?" Ah! Yes, I am. Um, and when I talk about that, I do mean that in just like the free love hippie sense, man. Brent Maddock and Steve Wilson come from the 60s and 70s era, and they're both of the personality types that, like, that's not a big deal, man. And so I had started on this tangent talking about our people needing to read that into Tremors, and I wonder if they got to make more of their Tremors today, which is, knock on wood, that's what we're working on. Would that not happen more? Would that inherent queerness kind of come to the surface? And I really do think so. Uh, I think that that homosociality thing that I was talking about is best seen exemplified by how often they have two dudes working together to fight monsters. And a lot of the times it's a dad son kind of relationship. Like my favorite one, Bert and Tyler, is I really hope that there's nothing kind of going on between those two because it's very much a father son relationship, and then Earl and Grady, you know, maybe honestly Earl would be so pissed, like so fed up with Grady that it would never happen. Uh, but you know, I look at those relationships and wonder. Actually, there's one I was just watching it for Tremors the series. As literally, I was just watching it like an hour ago. The hit and run episode with the two gangster guys, Nick Turturro and fuck. I can never remember that black guy's name. Angie Walsh. No, that's not right. Those two dudes out hiking. They just two dudes out hiking. Um, read into that what we want. Maybe there's a level of that there that if in a world where we pull back that conformity, that like would these stories not allow that to kind of happen more? And I do wonder because Stampede up until Tremors the series, 2000s, that was still very much, taboo, very much behind closed doors, not any kind of talking about, any kind of like, not even alluding to, um, because that would easily get your movie, your TV show, whatever written off by the studios. You gotta have your male interest into your female interest so that way we can sell the tickets and do that. The concept of two dudes jippy fucking was not sellable at that point. Uh, which is where that whole wokeness concept that I really like whenever I say like Tremors being woke, I really do mean progressive. I know people hear that and they think, oh, what do you like? Like, I just had a person just say it to me on Twitter. It's a Looney Tunes concept that doesn't mean anything, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of my point, like because it's progressivism, and progressivism should never be about virtue signaling and being like, look at me and look how ahead of the curve I am on this. You should just be ahead of the curve. It should just be there and done. And that's why I truly love Tremors, and I call it that kind of woke because it was ahead of the curve, totally ahead of the curve in terms of and Rhonda is my biggest one where it's like you have her as the sexy female scientist that everybody's listening to but also doesn't understand at the same time, and you think that Val's only helping her out but she actually helps Val out. There's a level of like maybe Val's pining for her, but like she's trying to get him in the end. There's an equality to it. That's equality. That's to me. That's when you're trying to use that woke term. Like that's true equality, and that's why I say Burt Gummer is actually the most woke of them all because you're saying like, hey, look at this dude over here. Like he's super into guns. He's fucking nuts or whatever, but he also has a value. He also has like principles that he stands to. And he's not just a crazy prepper. He's a good person. That is fucking woke. And that's where I use that word. Like that is woke, man. That is open up your brain to that concept. Like just yeah, man. Like he is. Burt Gummer is the most woke character up until Tremors fucking 5 when he becomes a goddamn caricature. But like he is, man. He really is. He exemplifies both sides of that argument to a T. That's why in my beautiful world, him and Heather are swingers because like Burt Gummer Burt Gummer don't care. Burt Gummer loves everybody, and I've seen those people that try to like, oh, Burt Gummer would kill the furries, and it's like Burt Gummer wouldn't give a fuck, man. He would do the same thing that I'm doing. I feel like where it's just like, so you want to be eaten by a graboid, and you want a graboid to suck your penis off. Do I need to tell you how dumb of an idea that is? Do you put my Burt Gummer hat? Do you not understand the principle that you're talking about? A graboid wants nothing to do with sucking your penis. He wants to eat your penis. A graboid will take your penis and just bite that whole thing off. Oh, you want to sink yourself as a shrieker, eh? Well, you know what? You know what a real shrieker is? A shrieker is really something that what want to say something about it being in bed. A shrieker in bed? Ah, I call that Heather. That's a good one. And I do. I hope you all know that if I'm laughing, I'm really cracking myself up. Um, I don't like to force the laugh. I don't like to force my own jokes. But Heather, Heather's a real shrieker. Oh, you mean Val? God, he's an ass blaster. Ass blaster. And you know, like, look at that word, and you can't tell me that in some world the people that were like, we should name a creature ass blaster were like, yeah, being gay is pretty cool, man. I mean that. I mean that 100%, dude. Like that's like, yeah, dude. Like ass blast your own ass. Woohoo! Yeah, why not? What like it's harder for me to say that Tremors is straight for than it is for me to argue that it's queer. Like that's where I like my needle on that like it goes this way. It's in the 70. It's not like fully, 90 100% down, but it hits 70 65% towards like I mean, I could buy that. I buy that a little more than everybody just being straight. Because then Tremors is a horror rom com. Tremors is the first horror rom com to be 100% fundamentally blunt and clear about it. Tremors is the very first horror rom com, and I mean that in movies. Maybe that concept has been tried and true in books, but I'm this is a movie TV show podcast, and as much as I have these lovely books here, it's really hard to read sometimes. I need audiobooks. Which if someone wants to make an audiobook of this, that they should. I've already read the whole thing, but that would be dope. So and I wrote this out here, and I was talking about it with someone on Twitter today. I think it was you, Edwin, where what is no, it was Glizzy King. Oh, and I think they're gone. Uh, the monsters as a metaphor, and I want everyone to think about this. I really do. When they first made graboids, the idea was that they had a foreskin, and when they came out of the ground, the skin would retract, and then that would open it up into the grotesque flower, as it's written in the script. And guys, like, if they're going to that far with the design, and if you watch, I mean this, if you go and watch is it Making Perfection? It's one of the newer documentaries on the Arrow video, um, because I like they're all old and stuff. But Alec Gillis has a really hard time. Actually, Alec Gillis and Steve Wilson both have a really hard time keeping a straight face when it comes to saying like, yeah, the made the graboids look like penises at first, and we almost got away with it. Like we were close to getting away with it, and then Gail Ed Hurd came in and was like, "No, they can't be penises. Take away the foreskin," which I'm really glad that they did in the end because there's some concepts that we should just that are much better subtle than straight up foreskin edge. Because it is like I've seen that picture, man, and it's not. It ain't flattering to anything. That was a dick. That was an underground dick. Graboids are underground dicks, folks. That's the central insipid metaphor of the whole piece. And I mean that when you look at it too, even with the original script and the way that the movie ends, that it's about the subconscious love. And I mean subconscious love. And people like to say that Tremors doesn't have any metaphors. There's no extraneous moral to the story. There's nothing. It's just a good movie and it's just a good story and that's all that it was and there's no more to it. It's like, do you not understand the concept of like telling a good story? That there's always that. There's always a metaphor. There's always something that you're trying to say underneath, even if you don't realize it. Like, that's how that works. Like, if you're telling a story, and that's the point of it, a story ends up being circular. Edwin knows this because of Dan Harmon. Like, you go down into the deep, you find something, and you grab it, you meet with your goddess, you atone with your fathers, you go on the road of trials, and you come back up, you return having changed. That is, like, it is a circle. Every story is a circle. That's why people love Tremors, is the what we had at the beginning as setup we get to use later on in the movie. That is everybody's fucking like, oh my god, I love, did you know that the freezer, they talk about the bearing in the freezer, and I fucking hate the critical drinker. I guess that's an axe I'm grinding right now. I really hate that guy, man. He is a douchebag and has fucking way too many viewers, way too many subscribers for being such a pretentious asshole. And it's like, and he takes the basic. He can't, like, man can't fucking dig for his life. And fucking Tremors is all about digging, motherfucker. Digging. Fucking digging. And it is. And you can't have a story like that with your setups and your payoffs that wasn't trying to say something in between. And I do mean, like, back when I was on Reddit, that was always my favorite thing to post. I loved finding the beginnings, the setup and the payoff, like the setup and the payoff, the setup and the payoff, and it's there all over the place. One of my favorite ones is you think nothing of it. Bert fires at the graboid. I think I scared him. And Bert, cut it out. And you're just like, okay, Bert's being nuts, and like there's no point to that or whatever. And then later on, Rhonda's talking, and she's like, I don't think it does hurt. I don't think it does scare them. It hurts them. They're so sensitive to sound, they've got to run. And Bert immediately says, oh, hell, she's got my vote. And like, because he's legit remembering, oh my God, I fired at that one, and it actually did like move away because of the sonic concussion of the elephant gun fucking scared it. And you're thinking that like he's just being nuts or crazy or whatever, but there's a legitimate story reason for him, like, for that happening. It's fucking, oh my God, it took me so long to catch that one, and I was like, oh, that's dope. Oh my God, yes. So I can't believe for any second that there's no underlying metaphor here. There's no subconscious thing happening. Graboids are penises. They're underground penises. They're a metaphor for how we feel about love and the way that still comes to the surface. And we've got to grapple. I'm kind of stretching it a little bit here, and that's where insert. I think that's the real underlying thing that happens, is that like they knew what they were doing. They knew that metaphor could apply to anything, and they were just like, we're gonna leave that open ended. We're gonna leave that, like, let people figure it out. That's always the sign of a great artist too, is figuring it out along the way. And this is where, having watched their newest script reading, Brent and Steve's, it's called Blank Slate. It's about 6 people that wake up in the woods and they have no memory of anything that they did. They have no memory of anything. They don't even remember their fucking names. They literally have to pull out their wallets and like look at their names. One guy is like, Tim Crampton? Oh man, my name is Crampton? Like, it's a fucking great joke. But they're grappling with their very own existences. And there's a metaphor in what they're doing there that I haven't gotten yet. And actually, I'm kind of working with them on the script, trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out their climax. Their last third act just doesn't click. So I'm trying to help them currently right now. But again, yeah, all stories have something to say. That's the point. You're not telling a story like that. You're not doing all that setup and payoff unless it's trying to say something. So we've got graboids are underground penises. They are. We're not gonna. There's no argument to it. They're great big slammer dicks. And there's actually I will totally plug this too. There's another Tremors podcast out there called Podcasting to Perfection, hosted by Brett Jeffries and Hannah Jeffries. They just had their second Tremors 2 episode, and man, it was like we just got to talk about dicks, like those, especially on Shriekers. Those Shrieker tongues just look like penises, just big slimy penises. And then they were on another podcast, Opinions Like Assholes, and they were talking again, like those hosts were asking them, like, okay, so these things look like dicks, don't they? They totally look like dicks. And then Brett like brought me up. He's like, actually, so like we have this dude that's listening to our podcast that has another Tremors podcast that just met Steve, and maybe we should ask them if graboids are like dicks. So I'm having this episode to prove to you, Brett, that graboids are like dicks. They are like dicks, big slimy dicks. Which then leads me into Shriekers are basically walking vaginas. I mean that completely. They, I was gonna say vaginas just don't eat things and spit things out, but like they've got that flap opening. They're like there's the opening on the flappages. They're just walking around spitting out babies. Vagina, what's your function? Taking in sperm and spitting out babies. That's Shriekers, man. They are. That is like you can almost tell that they were like, man, we made the graboids really dick like. We should maybe compensate a little bit in the opposite direction, and they made Shriekers just walking badges. Blah 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 blah. And maybe maybe there's a level of like there's those two guys are like talking about women in that sense where they're just Shriekers. I don't think they're that mean. Maybe they are though. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. Like. There's so much to this. Like, if you're still fucking listening, it wavers, man. Like, I can't. I go back and forth. This is not something that I ever thought of as a kid. I always came to Tremors with the like these are monster movies. I love these monster movies. And I was like, wait, they're giant penis movies? Hold on. Like yeah, like but like now that you hear it, maybe man, like legitimately, maybe this hat looks good on me. I don't mean to stop, but I don't know why. I ordered a Burt Gummer hat and it hasn't came in yet. I'm actually really sad about that. Like, but it don't matter. But they are. To continue the if graboids are penises, shriekers are vaginas, because then there's ass blasters. Like, which, as I previously just said, like you can't tell me that you didn't come up with that name, and not a homosexualness, but just like yeah, you'll be blasting some ass. And even Jack says it in the movie when Jody comes up with it. Sounds like a porno film. Wink, wink, wink. Like there's so many of those like, did you catch that? I don't know if you did. And one that I didn't quite have written down, but when I think about the concept of Mixmaster, that's just children. That's just like just people be fucking and having children of all different shapes and colors and sizes. Mixmaster is the LGBTQIA plus of Tremors monsters. It is everything in between, all of the things, and that's where you can't they call Shriekers hermaphrodites. That was a big word even for 1996, and I mean it's wrong. It is completely wrong. That is not what they are. They're asexual hermaphrodites, meaning that they reproduce without having sex, and they have the sexual characteristics of both male and females. But then that's where the hermaphrodite part, I don't know, but they're definitely asexual, which is like that's a really hardcore concept for a 1996 monsters movie. Just really like, damn, like you gonna stick that? You gonna stick that landing? Okay, that's fine. I'm into that. And and then I was just talking with Edwin. What are the mini G's? Are they micro penises? No, they're sperm. Because if you've got ass blasters, if you got eggs in the ass blasters, then the mini G's are the sperm. With a little bit, which I think would have been if we had gotten the original Tremors 5, would have been, man, that metaphor would have been driven hard. Because there was so many. There was so many of them down in Australia. You know, as I said, it's one of my favorite concepts where they're just fucking jumping all over the place. That's sperm. That's what they do. That's what when they're impregnating the egg, you just have tons of sperm, and they're all shooting and hoping that they get the catch in the end. Like mini G's are sperm. Dirt dragons are sperm. What? And again, none of you guys are telling me I'm wrong in the comments. You guys went quiet. I know that like two of you left like for about 20 minutes there, but none of you are saying anything. Like, am I wrong? Like really, guys? Like we got graboid dicks, we got shrieker vaginas, we got ass blasters ass blasting, we got mini G's as sperm, we got mixed masters as the transgendered people of monsters. Oh, that's totally what they are, aren't they? Like, and El Blanco, even the concept of El Blanco, he's just, like that's the actually that's the asexual thing where it's like no, El Blanco doesn't care. El Blanco just be living his life. They just want a relationship. I keep using El Blanco just want a relationship with a nice looking graboid who gonna take them home, who gonna treat them right and gonna make their breakfast in bed. They're gonna bring them some little coyotes, some little baby birds. They're gonna maybe there's some tourists that they're gonna get from Desert Jack's Graboid Adventures, and they're gonna bring it home to El Blanco. They're gonna have a lovely life. But it's true. I don't mean to like. You guys aren't saying I'm wrong, so I'm like, fuck. Like, it's not. All you gotta do is comment no. I'll wait. Drink more water. That's my water. My water. Hey, you need to drink more water. Water. Healthy. Made in America. Where else? It's made in the sky. Whoa! Which makes me think of Nope. Nope is a movie about a giant butthole. Or a giant man-eating vagina butthole. Hold on, Conan. Oh no, Conan, you got a spam filter. Oh no. Oh, Bubba. We lost one of our people. You should be good, Conan, if you're listening. Come back and forth. I don't have anybody set up for spam. I accept all chats. If you can say anything in your Twitter thing, tell me it now, and I'll try to. I can halfway kind of see it, and I will respond. Just type the words "no" in big letters. But Jordan Peele's Nope. If Jordan Peele is such a big fan of Tremors, and he is, dude, that Jordan Peele has loved Tremors since I think 2014 is when I've seen his first tweet. Like he tweeted about Bert and Heather, like relationship goals. He put that there's that picture of those two on the rock, and he's like relationship goals. And so Jordan Peele has loved Tremors for the past 8 years. It's one of his favorite films, and he decided as his homage to Tremors was to make a movie about a giant floating vagina butthole in the sky. And that's actually it's definitely more of a giant. Oh my god! I hope you've seen Nope by this point in time. It's a great movie. Please just go and see it. Download it, pirate it right now. Make sure you get the best quality copy of it because you gotta have the nighttime scenes to really bring it in. But he looked at Tremors. Him as a comedian, as an auteur, as a guy on the cusp of filmmaking, has looked at Tremors and been like, "Yeah, that's a movie about sexy monsters. That's what that is. So I'm gonna make my Tremors, which is a movie about flying vaginas in the sky." Okay, Jordan. Fucking A. And I do mean this. Nope is a great movie. If you like, I don't know if the three people in the chat right now were on the cusp of watching Nope or not, but it's dope. Nope be dope, man. Oh, and cool. Conan did say something. Oh, okay. Conan said no. Most of. Okay, we're back. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Where did all. Oh my God. So you guys were saying stuff. Oh, okay. Oh my God. So I'm gonna go back here. Hold on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now that I stopped because of nope, I'm gonna actually look at these comments. So we'll go through here, and I will address you guys. I don't know if the spam filter what's working on here. Um, yep, Edwin's talking about I get the wingman thing. And then yeah, and then Conan, you will have long blonde hair, big green eye. You know, he's talking about a bimbo, like legitimately like a bimbo, and like he's it's not a great comparison. Yeah, Val enjoys expressing his sexuality to Earl. I think there's a queer element to this overt expression of heterosexual desires. Yes, yes, Conan. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. I love this. I love the words will always be mightier than the pecker. Glizzy King. Not to be rude, but I am the king of the glizzies. Uh, I completely agree. This is why I'm often bothered by lazy queer readings when it's about inserting sexual energy into fraternal relationships. But then there's Bert. Uh, Quinn from Sliders. I'm not gay, but I want to be his friends more than seems normal. That's kind of yeah, exactly. This is what I mean. David Tennant. Edmonds talking about David Tennant. It's like you got to be open now. You know, don't be a dick to everyone. Glizzy King. I'm from Texas. Hey, yo, bro. Um, Acting like you know someone personally, and it's always important to question sexuality. Sometimes I kind of get it. There's vor fetishes. Um, Glizzy King. I still can't not watch Tremors without thinking of it as underground hungry genitals, especially when the creature you want to be eaten by has tentacles in its mouth. Don't let them discuss shame you. Just changing canon. I'm trying not to be like Don Michael Paul. It's kind of homophobic. Well, I'm trying not to be. The hippie and the vet. Yeah, the hippie and the vet. That is Steve and Brent. The one thing you bought that would regularly be out of your price range. And Steve doesn't want to talk about train. Oh yes. Oh my God, Steve does want to talk about trains. Steve wants to run a train on everybody. Him and Michael, they just want to do trains on everybody. Um, the kill count. Um, when someone asks my favorite Bill Paxton movie, I always say Spy Kids 3. Uh, I would fucking scream. I'm really going through here, guys. Please, I'm so sorry to everyone that's like, what the fuck is happening? Um, they had great chemistry. The other was with his girlfriend in the later episode. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Conan. Yeah, yeah. Conan was watching the series, so he knows. And I was talking about the Nick Turturro guy and not Frank. God damn it. Jesus Christ, I can't remember that black guy's name. I feel so racist. Um, yeah, spread that message. And yeah, it's a good example of a queer relationship. And Bert wears pantyhose, protect from bugs. Uh, and yeah, uh, uh, Conan talking about Bert, as an extreme minarchist, he would be so out there in 1999. Like Bert be fucking. Bert don't care. Bert, like you put your dick in whatever you want, according to Bert. Um, Only butt drummer would add the Heather bit. Hey, come on, give me a break. It's a fucking dick. Come on, they're like giggly children. Uh, Ventris, the Latin ventris. Oh, talking about vagina plus womb and ovaries, which they say while under a mattress. Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, dude. Okay. Uh, oh, dude. That's a good one, Conan. I didn't. There's a bunch of others. Um, hey, what's up, Culta? What's up, Culta Odd? Yo, dudes. We are talking about how queer Tremors is, but I gotta point this one out. This is a great one, Conan. Um, that they say the line about ass blasters and a porno film while they're underneath a mattress. I didn't even get that. That's that is good, man. Oh, that's good. All right, now we got live chats back. All right. And now I'm finding out that you guys weren't disagreeing with me the whole time. Holy shit. I really thought you were. I thought you were just silently like twiddling your thumbs like, "Oh, you're wrong," but you weren't. Um and you're all adding stuff. No. Edwin, Glizzy King, Cultivad, Conan, you're all adding stuff. I'm doing this on my phone, so please forgive like I'm like, oh, I'm in the camera here and I'm in the camera there. So I'm really trying my best here to like. Yes, and Conan, I have an utter disdain for lazy readings in general. Like you've got to, if you're gonna say something like that, you got to put some effort into it. And I hope that I've tried to put some effort into this for you. Um, I could tell I when we were talking on Twitter that like you really wanted some meat to the discussion, as you said. I hope that I provided this. I'm really trying here. But then to go back to where I was before I got completely sidetracked by your comments there. So sorry, everyone. Cultivad, yeah, two men wrestling with a giant dick. Queer as fuck. It really is. But you like Jordan Peele looked at Tremors as his comedy self. That's always where I have to come at it. Is that comedians we I can't really say I'm a comedian. I'd love to be. Uh, but comedians have an ability to look at things like that through a very, very unique lens. And that's why jokes land. That's why they're funny. It's why it works. Like that's why we laugh. That's why like that's always my like the funniest things that make me laugh when I'm doing funny stuff. Like when I just did the Heather is a shrieker thing because it's kind of funny. Where it's just like yeah, Heather's a real shrieker in the sack, like hey, it's still making me laugh because it's just like it's pretty goddamn good reading of that. Oh, but Jordan Peele looked at Tremors and he's coming to the same conclusion. And you know what? Jordan Peele has a whole Key and Peele fucking background to beat everything I've got to say. So like he wins in my book. Like I didn't even realize it, but he's got it. So if you haven't seen Nope, I highly go out and recommend it to finish what I was saying. Please go see Nope, and learn a little bit. But I love you too. I love you too, Cultivad, man. I'm trying to give him hell. Don't worry about me, bro. I'm out here. And to the Tremor Saga people, whoever, I know that they can't comment because I'm using their thing right now. Thank you guys so much for letting me use your YouTube channel for this. I know that we were talking and Twitch is dying, so like this is gonna be more of a regular thing now. And I really thank you guys for everything that you do. I know that I send you a bunch of weird shit that you put out there, and I thank you. Like I'm weird. I appreciate how weird you guys are, and I know that we don't always like agree on everything, but I really like working with you guys. Thank you so much for that. Um, thanks, Edwin. And yeah, so like we have all these readings. I now realize everybody was keeping up with me there, so I don't have to worry about like re-explaining everything. Um, and yeah, and yeah. So if we're looking at this graboid, penis, shrieker, vagina, ass blaster, sperm, mini G lens, um, this is where the furries win. They are the winners. All right? They are the fucking winners. I do not understand them. I think that they are weird. I think that they are strange. I am not into it at all. But you know what? I've done the count. And I know the Tremor Saga has done the count. They win. There's way more of them, man. There's so many more people that want to get sucked off by a graboid than there are people that want to fuck guns. And that's actually, I have a note here: ammosexuals versus grabosexuals. And Tremors, the series, does a really great job of this. There's a legit point in A Little Paranoia Among Friends where Bert is stroking his. I gotta do it. Hold on. I got my. He's saying like the words he's saying too are just like. I bought this special for dispatching graboids, but never got to use it. Oh man, to see what she can do when faced with a worm. Like he literally, like that's what, to see what she can do when faced with a worm as he's stroking his gun. And then Tyler just from the, you two need to be alone for a while. Just like, like they are, like, Oh, that's one too. So this I have to say this is where I get pissed, and this is where like, and because Edwin just said he gets horny from Heather and guns. This is where I get pissed at the people who are like, kill the furries with fire, because they'll literally say that, and then they'll say kill the furries with fire, kill the gay people with fire, and there's no part of Tremors that should ever be sexual, and they always go with that. There's no part of Tremors that should ever be sexual. What are you talking about? I may be ignoring the entire fact that like the first movie and the second movie and the third movie and the fourth movie were all about people trying to find their true loves. But don't you ever say that Tremors was sexual. They'll say that, and they'll hate these posts on Facebook, and then they will turn around, and if there's a post about Burt Gummer having half a chub during that rec room scene, which he did. He totally, you can't see it. I'm not saying that it's like there or anything like that, but you tell me if I'm wrong that Burt Gummer wasn't rocking half a chubby after fucking blasting, finally getting to use all those guns with his wife to fight a giant monster. Dude, that boy was rocking that. Yeah, exactly, Conan. Half, no, he was full staff. He was full mast, ready to fucking, ready to go. And I don't mean that I don't mean it in the way of like I'm trying to shit on those people the same way that they're shitting on the gay people or the furries. It's just like, no, oh my god, dude. No, he did. He had a boner. He had a big and I know, Edwin, I know you hate this gift too, but I kind of love seeing it whenever it pops up. Broke into the right goddamn sex room, didn't you, ass blaster? That rec room is their sex room. That's where I say that. Stop. I can't get any more erect. He did, man. He did. And I hate it. I hate. And I know people are like, oh, you can't hate things. That's a bad perspective. I hate it when the same people who say kill the furries with fire go like, yeah, Burt Gummer was fucking masturbating hard. He had a big fucking he had a big fucking stiffy shooting monsters. I don't know why you would you say, why is it the stuff I hate is the stuff you love? I don't know. I think that's a good aspect of any like fun relationship. If we agreed on everything, Edwin, that it would be boring. I know I'm not. Please comment. I'm not sure what I hate or you hate that I love. Let me know. I wasn't sure what you were talking about there. It's bias. Yeah, it's all bias. And then also she said I just wasn't the same without the threat of global thermonuclear annihilation. Like, which is true. Which, like, think about that. Like, think of like, and I've always wondered too that like, you know, like Burt, like I've said this before. He needs graboids. Burt, without the threat of graboids, shriekers, and ass blasters, would be a sorry state. Like them reoccurring and that what they had to do in Mexico is the only reason that Burt Gummer didn't just fucking blow himself off. Oh, the goats and the GIF and Desert Jet. I like camp, Edwin. That's where my difference is that I come from a huge Doctor Who background. Just gonna look around, and I weirdly enough don't have anything Doctor Who up and around here, but I come from a huge Doctor Who background, and camp is great to me, so that's probably why we disagree. And I have a huge love for camp. It's where my love of Tremors comes from too. But yeah, Burt was about to kill himself. You know, Burt was about 2 or 3 weeks away from fucking blowing his brains out in that bunker by himself. And that's not a good thing, man. It's not. I kind of got on a suicidal thing there too, but the point being was that like he was full mast while shooting the graboids, and all those people that just like, yeah, and that was awesome are also the same people that say that furries should die, and I think they're wrong. I think they can fucking fuck those people can fucking fuck off and die when you're that hateful on that, like, and then like to flip flop in terms of that irony. You're just like, that's dude, whatever you're repressing is like coming out and hurting the rest of us, and could you just stop it, please? Like, I like to live in the world where Burt Gummer had a boner while he was shooting graboids, and then also somebody wants to get sucked off by El Blanco. Those are both the same things to me, man. I think they're both equally weird, but you know what? It ain't me. So I don't care. I don't care. I still don't care. It's I don't care. Yeah. I don't ever get to express that aloud so much, and I know that none of those people are going to listen to this podcast. They've made that abundantly clear. Uh, that I can fuck off. But fuck you guys. Fuck you. And not in a good way. Put your fist in your own ass and open your hand and grab your intestines and pull them out your ass and just die, because you are fucking ruining the world for the rest of us. It's less fun. Yeah, Edwin said my dad had the same opinion. Doesn't affect me, so why should I care? That's what I mean. Where it's like it's not affecting you. Like why are you giving a shit about this? Um, because then this is a like I go back to, why is it so easy then to make all these sexual things about Tremors? Why is it so easy? Like, we can't do that with anything else. All right, we do. You don't watch Lake Placid and be thinking about how the crocodile is a metaphor for infertility. You don't watch Deep Rising and think that the snake, the tentacle thing is a metaphor for penises. You don't watch Kong Skull Island and think that all of those monsters are some grand metaphors or allusions to genitals. This is not. This is something that is very, very, very specific to Tremors, to the point where, oh my god, I can't believe somebody made that graboid butt plug. Like, who the fuck? Like, oh man, Redditors, man. That's where Redditors were the winners, and I'm so mad that I can't be a Redditor anymore. Cause like, god damn, was that thing like? I don't. I don't agree with this. I'm not into this, but that doesn't mean that I can't applaud the craftsmanship. Somebody 3D modeled a fucking graboid and put it on a butt plug, and then that OP turned around and was like, yeah, I'm going to try to make an ass blaster one. Which you would think, why didn't you make that one first? Low-hanging fruit. But I guess, as Tremors fans for you, we're not all about the low-hanging fruit. We like to work for it, really work for it. An ass blaster butt plug, that's easy. Edwin says, I'd buy it, to be honest. So, would you in the comments tell me I don't understand butt plugs? Because, ow. I'm just like, ow. And the, ow. What? Just, ow. And then to add something to it on the end, like, ow. There's so much, like, ow. But then, God, I've seen so many. Hey, Bad Dragon, you should make a graboid fleshlight. Well, lo and behold, Bad Dragon has already made a graboid fleshlight. What? Okay. I can't ask why anymore, because I know why. Somebody's into it. Somebody's doing it. Oh my god, I'm pitting out hard on my sweater. Look at that. I'm a superstar. I take him. Sniff him like that. Because they're graboid butt plugs, and then the Suns and Shadows guy, Kevin Smith and Jeff Johnson, who've been on this show before. I love those dudes. If you're listening, I love you guys. When they were doing the Tremors episode, they're like, we need graboid dildos. Edwin, I'd never use it. I just put it in a case in my living room. Just to look. Hello, folks. We're drinking our wine and sherry. Would you like to see my collection of graboid butt plugs? Yes, it's a fine collection. Oh, wonderful vintage. Where did you get yours? Well, I got mine from Etsy. Where I got mine from Redbubble. We are such fine graboid butt plug enthusiasts. Oh, sir. But Kevin and Jeff were talking graboid dildos. Actually, Mario Riviera, when I was on his Point in Progress podcast, and Jose and John, we were all talking about like there's graboid dildos. Graboids are made to be dildos. Um, I and no, Edwin, I don't take cocaine before I start podcasting. You know what? I have only ever done cocaine a grand total of 2 times in my life. And both times were many, many years ago. I'm only 31, and I think I might have been 25, 26 or 24 when both so I've never really done cocaine. But that doesn't mean that I can't tell when Don Michael Paul does it. Ugh. Good shit. We're gonna make them all. We're gonna make them all blue. Everything's blue, man. But graboid dildos are just sitting there. And in fact, there's a great. This is where the Sons and Shadows guys were talking when you're watching Tremors 3. Jody is on the phone and she's talking to somebody and she's like, nobody's going to buy these graboids. They have 4 tentacles instead of 3. I understand what you were talking about now. They have 4 tentacles instead of 3. Nobody's going to buy them. And there's these little graboids on the table that just look like, so if you put like a suction cup on that, that's a good shower dildo right there. Just pop that bad boy in, and it's spiked for your pleasure. You would. I really hope that if they made a graboid dildo, they would round those spikes off a little bit, because it would just, ouch. But it's there. It's so easy to read this into Tremors. There's no other. The only other kind of monsterage that gets this treatment is legit hentai, where they got the octopuses and the octopusy fuckings. Like that's the only other time that you see anybody putting this extra illusion of queerness, dickery on these monsters. It's not anywhere else. You don't watch Jaws and think that, yeah, the shark is a metaphor for penises. The shark, I've always thought, is like a metaphor for like failure. That's always what I've gotten from Jaws as a personal Jaws fan. Or not, maybe not failure, but in the same sense of Predator, toxic masculinity. Ooh, there's one. Even Predator, like, you don't get like. And I can't even say that the idea behind Predator was that like that mouth is a vagina or anything, because that was a late stage addition. They changed that entire concept up at the end. Oh, the only I knew I would get it there eventually. The only other series that does this is Alien and Aliens, and they know this is a penis. That's a giant penis head on that alien right there. And then the eggs, that's a vagina, baby. And then when it pops out of John Hurt, that's supposed to represent birth. That's supposed to represent the childbirth. And you don't. That's it. There's a grand total of 2 movie series where we read into the images of there being penises and stuff. And the other one is one that was literally, the artist is a guy known for making penis and genital shaped monsters. So like, and on that front, Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff are huge H.R. Geiger fans. So like, you can't tell me that those guys weren't thinking that it wasn't in the back of their mind. Like, Alien and Aliens had already come out by that point. So like, there's a total level of like, these guys were thinking it. It was on their mind. As we talked about already, they were having a laugh making the graboid look like a dick, and then they had to pull back, literally. Like, you can't tell me that they didn't look at aliens and be like, yeah, we can get away with that. We can totally do that. And like I keep saying, and I mean this, ask yourself that question. Why is it so easy to do that with Tremors? And not just Tremors 1. Tremors 1, 2, and 3. A little bit of 4. That one's, like I said, that one's more, as Edwin knows. That's just Steve having fun about trains. I love westerns, and I get to have my steam engine. Yes, da 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 da. He's having a fun time. Um, but then Tremors the series is some very like um okay meme tweet I sent. Oh, I can't wait to find that out. Um, is even more relevant. Okay, Conan. Um, like Tremors the series gets real sexual with things. Like, I mean, Tyler is a bisexual icon. I have this note here that that Valentine McKee and Tyler Reed are bisexual icons, like legitimately. And if you don't believe me, when you go and you look up fanfic of Tremors, 90, let's call it 80, 85, 85, 80 to 90% of the fanfic for Tremors is about Tremors the series. And a whole huge portion of that is devoted to Tyler Reed being a bisexual icon. And again, it's one of those like I wasn't thinking that, but you know what? Like now that you brought it up, okay, okay, I get that. I get it. I don't have to play that game to sit in the stands and be like, hey, good ball hit. You hit your balls well. You put it into that pocket. I'm not a sports ball person, if you could tell. um and yeah, he is. And that I said that at the beginning with Kevin Bacon being really David Bowie androgynous. Man, like there's these people that like they chose him for a reason. Even when you have like the original idea, like they were gonna have Bruce Campbell be Valentine. Bruce Campbell is pretty like pretty pretty banging that way too. I get it. And Geiger also did the creature design on Lynch's Dune, which is that's just a great big penis vagina monster right there. Brah, swallow you whole. Gibble to gobble. So yeah, we like. Why is it so easy if it's not there? Like that, I have it underlined even. Like, why is it so easy to make these sex jokes about Tremors? I think we all know the answer. I hope we all know the answer, having listened to this. Um, and because then this is fucking strange to me, and I got a point. Like, this is so weird that like the two people in the entire world who were like, we're going to start a podcast about Tremors, which is me and Brett Jeffries, are both transgendered. Like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I thought I was weird. I already thought that it was just like, I'm like being the weird, crazy, like Tremors fans or whatever. When I found the other podcasting to perfection, and I found out Brett was trans, it was like, what is happening? Are we living in the Matrix? Why is Tremors a trans icon of monster movies? Why? And I know low carb comedies getting married, but Zoran has always struck me as kind of trans themselves. And they has even said that his mom was originally going to name him Zora, and then he was born, and then they added the N to it. So it's just like, hey man, like it's all good. Come on out. We're into it. Like all like and I'm not like saying that you guys listening are like trans or anything like that. It's just more like, I mean, like it's a weird coincidence. It's a weird fucking coincidence that at least two and a half, like I said, I'm pretty sure Zoran is just like, you kidding me, right? Like the biggest Tremors fans are transgendered? Like what is the fucking happening there? What is that? what is that going on there? And there's even a level of like when you look at the concept of graboids turning into shriekers and shriekers turning into ass blasters, that's metamorphosis of the transformation transgendered variety. That's a concept. That's a great thing to latch onto for people like me, to like people like us. Like that's like, and yes, the biggest Tremors fans are queer. They really, really, really are. Because like, like when I was talking about the furries earlier, like they're prolific. They make a bunch of shit. They make a bunch of fucking shit, man. And and I went back and looked, like how far back, like how long have they been around? Man, they've been making it since at least March of 2007. Like that shit's been on DeviantArt that long. Like 15 years of graboids and being queer and wanting monsters to fuck you, man. It's like, what? Okay, so there's something here. There's something here. There's got to be something here. Otherwise, like, there's no way that this can be read into that much and be latched onto by these types of people if there wasn't something there. That's where, like, when I even give due credit to the people that love Burt Gummer and his guns and stuff, it's like you're not reading too much into it there. Like, I mean, the guy does. He's into it and stuff. You maybe over like you're actually it's not over. They underread sometimes on just like his true feelings as a person. It's like, yeah, he's you like guns and Bert likes guns. You're seeing something there. I get it. What is this with trans and Tremors fans? I'm asking. It's not even. I know nobody in the chat's gonna answer this because it's how do you answer it? But it's like, what the fuck is happening there? That's insane. That's insane to me. Like, what? uh, I'm looking at my notes and like I said, it just blows my mind. Transgendered people and Tremors that we've latched onto it. I think that's great. That's where Tremors is woke, whatever that word fucking means to you. If I know what you're gonna say, Edward, if the camera was zoomed out. Um, and then we're getting near the end here. Why does this reading piss people off so much? Why does the queer reading of Tremors make so many people, or not so many people, because it's like I said, it is a vocal minority, like 1/10 of those kinds of fans, of the Tremors fans. Why does it piss them off so much? Like it's not. I know it's because they're assholes, Edwin. I understand that concept. But it goes back to like, what are you hiding? What are you so? There was a person that when one of the graboid furry porn things was getting shared on Facebook was like, this is horrible. How could you do this to me? And it's like, what does that even mean? And well, what if my wife found out that I saw this? It's like, so like I'm continually telling Caitlin all the time, just like, I can't believe did you look at this? Like, I can't believe that this fucking graboid furry porn is happening. Uh, I don't understand this either. And there's never like I'm not worried about her being like, oh, what are you looking at? What is wrong with you? Because it's like you should have that kind of relationship with your wife. You should have that kind of relationship with your spouse, with your significant other, whoever you're in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, anything. Like that shouldn't be if you're scrolling through Facebook and you see like exactly if your wife was cool she'd laugh her ass off because you'd be like, oh my god, hey honey, look what I saw. Like what is the my favorite movie series, there's a graboid with boobs. What is this is insane. If you're turning around and be like, you need to stop this, this needs to be banned and you can't talk about this anymore because what if my wife happened to see that I was scrolling through Facebook, which is an algorithmic feed of randomness. It's whatever fucking pops up sometimes. We all know that. Like you then like exactly it's like why you can't be like, oh, I purposely sought this out and I was purposely looking for it. You should just be like, yeah, Edwin just said someone made this. It's awesome. How is the weather? That's the extent of the discussion. If you had a regular or real relationship with your wife or doing anything like that. I just realized I was talking to the wrong camera. This whole I need to be switching back and forth, uh, and like that. That's not anybody else's problem. Like really, man. Like it's not. You can't tell people that they need to die because you're so afraid of being discovered of something that like it needs to. You need to get rid of this forever because if it's in my eye line, I might touch my dick to it. Dude, that's hey, like that's your thing. I don't know why you decided to say that out loud to anybody. And yeah, and someone took time and effort to put detail into that graboid butt plug. Fucking appreciate it. I do like, and like they did. It's the same. The graboid butt plug is the same thing to me as that guy that is literally making a giant graboid head, like 3D model. It's the same thing. That's the same thing to me. Because it should be. It's somebody expressing themselves and however they feel to create something, and that is zero reason to like put the button on and kill it. And like, there's actually one dude in that Facebook group that's just constantly like, oh, I bet this person wants to fuck a shrieker, and I bet they want to like have a graboid tongue up their ass, and just will like say it like randomly, like there's no sexual anything like happening. It's just like, hey, uh, do you have something you want to share with the group, or is there something that you're feeling that you're going through? Because I feel like you should say it out loud. Like if you're doing that and you're gonna put that on other people, why don't you just come out and be a furry with the rest of us? Just do it. Who cares? And yeah, so that's where like why are you all getting so pissed about it? There's no unless and that's where I'm with Conan on this. Unless you're doing it lazy. Unless it's lazy and it's just like I'm just kind of like doing it for the easy meme value joke, which it, I unless you're talking about Dune and Tremors, that's the easy meme value joke that I just want to fucking die because it's just like yeah, they both have worms in it and they're in the desert. End of story. Continue next. Slow news day. Um, unless it's that. Unless it's this. Uh, the lazy readings. Just stop. Just stop. Um, I'm starting to sound like Bo from the fifth, and I love that guy. He's a great. And I want everyone to know. Uh, I understand if you think that grabosexuals need to be purged with fire. You know what? Uh, that's an opinion, and that's your personal belief. And whatever you're doing that you feel like you need to kill people because they're expressing themselves sexually, that's 100% on you. It is a compliment. That's why I'm doing his voice right now, Edwin. I really do love that guy. He's fucking dope. God, he really is. And I'm not doing coke. That's not why I'm doing this. One thing about Tremors is how much is there for a surface reading. Think the video essay pause every 10 seconds style. So much is literally on screen to document. It appeals to a certain autism spectrum personality, and Tremors is an absolute masterpiece from that perspective that almost nothing can be compared to. Maybe some Kubrick films, The Thing. It is. That's that thing that I was talking about earlier. That's like, as a storyteller, man, I love Tremors because it's just like there's every moment means something. Maybe you don't understand what that means, but it means something. You can, and it's why I have saved the first Tremors movie will probably be the very last episode that I do. And it'll probably be a three-parter in terms of everything because it is a pinnacle of like this is amazing storytelling. If you want to know how to make a movie or tell a story, you watch Tremors and you dissect it and you take it point by 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 point and you understand it. I've been seeing that with the Fred Ward gifts that have been coming out. That like, man, you watch Fred Ward in Tremors, man, acting, acting. That guy brought it. What everyone else would say is just a silly little monster movie. Fred Ward turned around and was like, no, 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 no. Listen, no, this is art. This is art right here. I'm telling you, this is some amazing, amazing literature. And he's a big reader too, so that's a high compliment from him. Like there was one, like I didn't quite realize this until watching it, listening to it over and over again, that Fred Ward does a great little like comedy bit that just slips by, and he even does a voice, and the uh, don't matter, they're all the same, dead weight. Oh, about the nail, and it's hilarious because it's like you're going from man, I'm a big old manly man to I broke a nail. It's just like whoa, Fred, what the fuck was that, dude? Oh my god, that was dope. Holy shit, man. And oh my god, there was one I saw on Twitter today where someone was sharing something from a movie he was in, Silkwood, and he was telling a joke about um the Indian chief and naming and whatever. And he's talking in his regular Fred Ward voice. And he's doing this, yeah. But then he's talking about an Indian chief, and and then he starts doing kind of an Indian chief thing, but it's really subtle. Like I'm overdoing it a little bit, but it's really subtle the way he does it. Where you're like, it was, hey, that was actually pretty sly there, man. Like that's like, why do you ask, two dogs fucking? Just like, it's great. Like, damn, like Fred Ward brought it. And I was thinking about this the other day. Like, Fred Ward made Kevin Bacon the actor that he is today. And I do mean that. I fucking mean that. Kevin, if you're watching, you know it's true. I know Kevin Bacon's not watching. You know it's true, man. He spent all of that time with Fred Ward, and Fred Ward gave him his acting ability. And not like gave it up, but like he imparted his acting ability to Kevin Bacon, and that is the reason that Kevin Bacon still has a career to this day. Is because of Fred Ward, because he learned so much from Fred Ward in that aspect, and that's where like and Fred, and that's where I've learned this about Michael Gross, where Michael Gross is a very queer person. There's an interview Michael Gross gives where he's got like this earring in, like, and I'm just like, what the fuck is Michael Gross got like that? What people would assume is that like you got an earring in, they're kind of being a little gay there. It's like, no, I'm Michael Gross. You got a problem with it? I am who I am. And reading people's interactions, actually, David Hewlett talked about Michael Gross. He's like, he's an odd fellow. He's just an odd guy. And it's like, yeah, I really think like it's not even about being gay. He's a little queer. He's a little queer that way. And I'd say that about Fred Ward in that same sense. Like that's you can't do that. I'm a big old man. I broke a nail, like, and jump that quick like that, unless there's a level of you that's completely fine with every part of who you are and expressing any kind of sexuality and not being pigeonholed and doing anything like that. You know who you are and what you're doing, and like Fred Ward was that. Fred Ward was the stand up ace. Ace. That's always the. You see, I think that's a sexual term. Aces. And Fred Ward was ace, man. Fucking ace. I don't think I'm using that right. It is fun to talk like you inhale helium. Ooh, I'm Tammy Lynn Baxter. Ooh, I have big green eyes, long blonde hair, world class breasts, actually one clip, and legs that go all the way up. Which is, if that wasn't the movie trying to teach you that those are not attributes to be like to fun after, like that was Tremors trying to teach us a little bit there. Um, Ace is short for asexual, and ace also means stellar. You know what? Let's let them be both. Ace is stellar, is a stellar asexual, uh, which yeah, I know Fred was not, but it's like it's that queer thing. Like I said, is Tremors queer? Yes. Yes. Because then, as we'll start to wrap it up here, my final question thought: should it be? Should Tremors have these sexual undertones of a queer variety that are accepting? Like, and my answer is yes. There's a whole talk these days about grooming and about when you show gay people kissing and you show trans people on TV or anything like that, that like you're grooming kids to like want to be that. And it's like, I mean, no, if you're not gonna say that about straight people, that's where I get really hung up on the people that hate the gayness of it and say you can't have anything sexual about Tremors. And it's like, were you not listening to Kevin Bacon's list? Because I didn't hear she has a great personality and she has an awesome sense of humor, and her brain is the biggest brain around. I heard tits, ass, legs. I was gonna say boobs again, but that's tits. You know, like that's all sexual stuff. So I don't want to hear this argument that you can't insert sexual undertones to Tremors. That'll make the children gay. Exactly. What's wrong with being gay? Hey, say what it is. What's wrong with being gay? Not a thing. What's wrong with being trans? Not a thing. What's wrong with being asexual? Not a thing. What's wrong with being a graboid furry and wanting to have your dick sucked off by El Blanco's tentacles? Whatever, man. To each their own. You're gonna whatever. You know, my thing is always about making it overt. I am strongly in the camp of I love Tremors being a family movie. And that doesn't mean that we can't do these things. Like that they're not gonna be there and allow that to happen. But that doesn't mean like I think the point of family movies is that when you watch them with your family, you can actually talk about that. You can actually have these conversations and you can say what you need to and be very upfront and honest. And yeah, Billy, gay people exist. Those two boys are kissing because they love each other. Yes, that person, little Jimmy, is, they're transgender. They're two different types of people in the same one. Like it's bonds to grow bond. That's a good one, Edwin. Growing bonds between people. That's what Tremors is about. That's where I'm like that's the acceptance thing of it. And I said this. I think I was talking to someone on Facebook about this, where I really have begun to think that the reason that Stampede Entertainment got kicked out was because Universal didn't want that. I think with everything that I've said about Steve and Brent and Ron and the Graboid Dicks and all of that, where it's like they didn't want acceptance. They just wanted their empty box, and they knew they would sell more of their empty box if it had none of this, if it was just completely straight and and again I have to say this where like people like they'll you can't add sexual things to Tremors. But I sure loved Val's daughter talking about that guy's dick in Tremor 6. I sure loved Jamie Kennedy taking that lady's pants off in Tremor 6. Like um these that's still the same thing. But it's just straight. And because it's straight, that's fine. We've had 85 years of Disney movies where straight people be fucking. Like that's the whole like Sleeping Beauty and Snow White is all about she's got to find a man to get that D so she can live her life as a princess. And that's fine. We're okay with that. We're all like you do you I was gonna say Conan, do you hate that dick peak scene too? Because it's not that I hate and we actually you and I were talking about this with Mindy in the Tremors pilot and how far do we go sexually with that, and whether or not that's a good idea to go that far. And I really like, I think it's best done subtly. And we were talking about this too, where it's Mindy is good, where it's like, oh, is she or not, or are we reading into that too much, or is that, is there something there? But she's allowed that grow up. Mindy is totally allowed that. She has been through three movies and then that TV show. It would be wrong, it's way more wrong to me to say that she can't be an adult. She can't grow up and have her own sexual feelings, and and again, she has every reason to be in a vow. That script does a great job of that, where it's like, yeah, you saved me from that, on a pogo stick, and I have been forever, like, you have imprinted on my mind in terms of that. Like, you're hot to me. It's like, okay, I actually get that. I totally get it. But then it goes too far with the scene with Emily and Nico just straight up screaming and having sex. Like, you're just like, it doesn't belong. It's not what we're going for. I consider that very similar to that boy's got game. It's, do we need this? Is this necessary? Is this why are we doing this at all? Um, because then there's a big difference between you doing that and then using your genitals in very creative ways, which that's one thing that I love about six, where it's like, let the main vein drain and let like the doggy eat, and he does that piss to distract the graboid, which I've always thought is like, so Michael, you had that idea, you knew that Steve and Brent had that idea, and you were able to like work that in. Smart, good job there, guy. But then to follow it with like that boy's got a big penis from from a character who, when we're in that situation, is the youngest. Like, there's a bunch of other women there that you've like, maybe these women should have said something. They're a little bit older, but it's like, you're like the youngest one here doing that. Like, it just like, there's something about it that skeeves me a little more, and I come at that from the angle of like knowing what we've learned with the Me Too era, and that there's a lot of really bad sexual things that happen in Hollywood, and that there's some things on movies and TVs that have only been perpetrated and perpetuated by people who are doing something fetish we uh, and that one feels like it. Like, that one just feels like a step too far. Um, and so that's where, should it be? Oh my God, he did. Oh my God, he totally did. Conan just said the Indian guy asked everyone not to look, and yet she's still peeking through the sniper thing and still looking. So she said no to his consent as a person. Oh, but it doesn't matter because he's a man and he should want women looking at his penis. It doesn't. No, 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 no. He said no. He said no. That means no. Like, that's one thing I've been getting really mad, to bring it back to the mummy thing from the beginning, where like, this story is now Brendan Fraser's coming back, and he took time off. He had a break from acting, and he had to like pull away from it because he was dealing with stress in his life. It's like, that's not what fucking happened. The man was sexually assaulted and then tried to do something about it and then got fucking blacklisted. Stop it. Stop writing articles and being like, oh, yeah, he just took time off for his health because he hurt himself with some stunts. No. No, no, and no. Just because it's a man doesn't mean it didn't happen. And this will be a hard one. I gotta say, because it's my podcast. I've been sexually molested by somebody. I was in drum corps, and this dude came in like, I was sick. I actually had a super, like, not a mumps, but like a throat infection, and they had to quarantine me off in a room. And this dude came in while I was sleeping, and like, did things to my dick, and I like happened to wake up and like turn over, and he like walked out, and and then I tried to tell people about it. It was just like, no, you're just being nuts. Maybe you took it the wrong way. Maybe you didn't understand what was happening. Maybe I didn't understand when someone came into my fucking room alone, when like, and this is the fucking crazy thing about it, like when you're doing drum corps, you sleep in a gym with 150 other people. That's how that works. You're on a marching band tour throughout the whole summer, and you get to like, that's what you do. You sleep on buses, you sleep in the gym. And I have been quarantined off because I was sick, and like, and fucking like, oh, this dude came in and diddled my dick, and then when I actually try to tell people about it, it's just like, oh no, you're a little crazy, Levi. Maybe you're a little nuts. Maybe you didn't read that into the right. Stop it! I came to you telling you that somebody did this to me. You should do something about it. That I did not mean to get that deep, but it's worth it because it, like I said, it's not just about tremors. It's about talking and the tremors that you create while you're talking, going from one subject to the next. Yes, and when I was a fucking minor, 17 years old. And like I said, just because it's a man is no reason to get rid of that. And there's a line in the. That's why I love Steve and Brent, and I would do anything for those two, and Nancy and Ron, because there's a great line in the first, Beneath Perfection script, where when they're going to pee that first night, um, which is a great joke. That there's nothing, let nothing show you the equality of Tremors more than when they're, well, I hate to be crude, but I need to take care of some business. Me too. Same here. Like, and they all go and pee. But then in the original script, and I'm always really mad, I was really mad reading it and then finding out that it got cut, was there's a line from Rhonda where she's like, shit, son of a bitch. And they're like, what? Whoa. They think like a graboid got her, and they're like, what's wrong? And she's like, well, if you wanted any more proof that God was a man, this is it. It's like, like I did. I was like, oh, that's. And I understand why it got cut because the terms of the flow and what was happening there. It's like it's easier to do the 1, 2, 3 joke, and then you don't land on that. But it's like, man, that's. Oh, if I had my say, that would get rewritten into another Tremor script because it is just too good. You got one man going off to pee on the one end. We got another man going off to pee on another end. We got a woman going off to pee, and they have to stay on the goddamn rock or get eaten. And oh, lo and behold, both men are fine with doing it because that's how that works. And then the woman actually has trouble, like legitimately, like because that's what would happen. Like, if you wanted any proof that God was a man, this is it. Like, you can't tell me. Like I said, folks, I've been saying it the whole time. You can't tell me that people that write shit like that weren't thinking everything that I've said this whole time. And it's not the gayness, it's the queerness, like the free flowing sexuality of something. Like, I got a new no, dude, seriously, like go listen to my Beneath Perfection episode. It does that joke. That's one that should have stayed. That one really should have stayed. Because it's true. It's real. That's where I say the woke thing. Wokeness is about true wokeness, not the corporate wokeness that like we should all hate. We should all hate that. But the progressivism should always be about equality, and that's going to be ahead of the curve, more ahead of the curve than anything else. Is putting things on an even level, actually, uh, because we're not there. As I was just discussing, we can sexualize men all we want, and that's fine. But like we can do it to women, but only in a certain sense, and then we can't like let them do other things. Like, yeah, you need to do it to progress society, not just to say you commented on social politics. It's ticking boxes. Um, so that's where should Tremors have these sexual undertones? I think so. I think that they've been there since the very beginning. And And it's not. I think we need to stop looking at it from a straight lens. I think we need to be accepting of everybody, and and that equality. Oh man, I was about to say I got a little off track there, but I got very on track. I was on a Steve Wilson, Michael Gross train there. Because is Tremors queer? It really is. It really fucking is, man. I told you, Conan. Um, I don't start. I wouldn't just start a discussion like this unless I fully thought there was something to go there. And there was. It really was. Let me look at my notes. I actually shit, man. Fucking. I guess that's sort 1999 is The Mummy and Tremors. I would love everyone to leave this like that's like these two movies have a lot in common. They really do. Uh, and yeah, box ticking. That's the bad one. That's the when people want to talk about woke being bad. Uh, that's the bad one. When you're ticking a box just to make it look good, just to make it look good. Like that's when it's bad. But when you're doing it to express something, that's where I pointed out the thing about Rhonda and the if you want to prove God was a man, that's expressing something. That's two dudes. That's where I point that out. That's two dudes writing that joke. It's like, and that's them expressing that they know that it's hard to be a woman in that kind of world, and actually imagining what that would be like how difficult. Like, yeah, shit, man. Like, you can't even piss right. That sucks, girl. Um, it's brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. That. I want to say it's a godsend, but I'm not heavily religious that way. It's a God's send. All of them, every single one of them. Everything needs to be punched. All of them, right in the face. And yeah, I mean, shit, trans fans and Tremors, amosexuals versus grabosexuals, pissing the people off. Uh, wow, shit, I did good. God damn it, man. Yeah, Greek. You want to talk about something that's way too sexual? Zeus has fucked everything in the world. He is literally like, he's the Genghis Khan of gods. That motherfucker fucks everything. And I don't want X to be. They don't want lazy on the nose box ticking. And yeah, and I think that there is like that's. Uh, uh, I think that there's things that we miss that are way more box ticking than anything else. I'm a huge fan of Prey. If you haven't watched Prey, I think Prey is a great example of what it means to be woke in today's landscape or progressive. That's where I'm using the word woke. Uh, to kind of a fuck you. But I think Prey is just that. It's not. I was gonna say queer just to tie it back, but like, man, I really do love that movie for giving everything. It's given her actually given her fair shake, and then her brother at the same time. And it's god damn, is that movie good? It really fucking is. And it goes back to in terms of Predator. Everyone's like, yeah, you can't beat the Predator just with smarts. It has to be like strength. Like, motherfucker, were you not watching the original Predator, where they literally show off how many muscles these guys have and how testosterone driven they are, only to pick them off one by one by one. And fuck you. I see the same complaints. Honestly, it's the Prey complaints even about Nope. The Nope complaints are the same ones that I see about what I'm talking about with Tremors. It's like you're just not. you're just not getting it, man. Just not getting it. And it's because you're doing the earplug thing. Like everybody's trying to tell you, like, here's a way to get it. It's right there, but you just don't want to get it. I guess that's kind of where I'm sad. And as you know, I'm finishing off here. I feel really bad for these people sometimes. Not sometimes, all the times. Where they're that angry about Tremors being queer. Like I just feel bad for you. There's a lot of hate. A lot of hate for art. I'm, it's not, and it's not like I haven't been hating people this whole time either. I like to think that I'm hating a person for their actions. Like actually, like you are one person that is like choosing to have actions, and I'm gonna hate you for it because you're choosing some really poor actions. When you hate an entire set of movies because of the a group of people, a whole decision making process. Oh my god! Oh, that reminds me of a video analyzing the pecking order of the characters in Predator and how it directly correlates with bicep size. They just don't have the same mass. They need to, the transporter doesn't have the same mass as Predator. We have so many conversations about mass. Can we stop talking about mass? I get to love that, but it misses the point. And that's something that I always go back to with the Burt Gummer fans, and they think that guns are so cool. And I love pointing out to people that the guns in Tremors kill a grand total of two creatures. We have the gun wall in Tremors 1 that kills a graboid, and then we have Burt's super gun in Tremors 2 that kills the Shrieker. And there is the punt gun does get one in 4, but they do a great job of setting that where he misses the first fucking time. So like in the course of like 3 movies, we actually like the graboids barely get killed by guns. What really kills graboids is bombs. And I love pointing that out, man. You, it's it's not guns that save the day. It's your knowledge of improvised explosive devices. Do you have that? That's where I'm a huge fan of the Burt Gummer Subterranean meme stash guy because he gets that. Like the guns are just is a security blanket. What do you have more? What do you have to back it up? What is your lifestyle choices? Like because it's not just guns. Like guns are cool too, man. And I love me some guns. I'm not. I'm a Second Amendment. I fully believe that every American and citizen in the world should have the right to own a rocket launcher. I was watching Maximum Overdrive this weekend, and there's a guy in that has a fucking rocket launcher. He has a Burt Gummer stash in his basement in underneath his gas station, and that movie was like 1986 or 85. So that was before Tremors. So that's where that joke of like the preppers being like that, it doesn't come from Maximum Overdrive, but that was already there in the cultural consensus. But that guy has a fucking rocket launcher. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine with that. That's okay. That's good. I like that. We should all have a rocket launcher. Uh, Kind of getting off topic here talking about that, but it ties into it. You can't you don't read the one specific thing because it makes you feel better. You have to read the whole thing. That's where I don't really like talking about Tremors being queer. I would love for this just to be like just a set of monster movies, and that's what we're into. But now that I've learned that there's an aspect to that, I have to as the Tremors professor, as Edwin called me today, that like I have to accept it. That's part of it. That's a part and parcel of the whole thing. So now I gotta work it into that. I gotta. That's part of it, man. If I denied that, that would be me denying the entirety of Tremors. As much as like I said, as I'm not into it, it's there. It's right there on screen. And they don't kill ass blasters with guns. They kill ass blasters again with an improvised weapon. They kill ass blasters with a potato gun that they improvise together. They work together and they make a gun. That's not they didn't have a gun. And I love they're in the outhouse and if I could just grab one gun and Jody's like, Bert, you don't have a gun. Deal with it. like, uh, and, and I love Conan. If the First Amendment includes the internet, the Second Amendment includes tanks. I agree. I 100% agree. Yeah, I do think that there's a level of like we should make it harder for people to access some guns if they have certain histories and they've shown that they're not capable of being near guns. And Burt Gummer would say the same thing because he gives Melvin an empty gun. He knows very well there are some people that just should not have guns. well, Conan's talking. That is one of the great Burt moments. We need to let Jody's. Somebody have a lighter? Burt does. How do you know? Well, because you're Burt. Damn right I am. And if you're friends with me, you'll know that like Burt Gummer has had a lifelong impact on me because I show up to everything with everything. I will go to parties. I carry a bug out bag with me at all times. like all times. And it has everything that I'm gonna need if shit just hits the fucking fan. Because you should. Burt Gummer would tell you the same goddamn. You don't have a lighter on your person? What the fuck's wrong with you? Actually, Caitlin's always joking. We have this friend of ours, John Burrow, and he wears Burt Gummer vests. Like he's got these great Burt Gummer vests with all these pockets and shit. And I'm always just so jealous of it. I love Burt Gummer's vest. Actually, Burt Gummer's vest in Tremors the series is some of my favorite things because it's just like he's got all this shit there. You can fit that. You can fit that and that and that and that. And I just love. I wear vests all the time. I got some great vests that I'm always wearing. It's just like I love me some pockets. You always got to be ready. You always got to have everything ready for it. Guys, you keep getting me off top. I'm trying to end it, but you keep getting me talking about my love of Burt and it's like being prepared. And sweater vests. Actually, sweater vests are all right. I've come to love a good cardigan. Maybe that's the old lady part of me, but I do. I like a good Mr. Rogers cardigan. And hey, let's talk about Community. Do you know that Community? I've had. Hey, Edwin, you're gonna shit your pants at this, but I'm actually good friends with Dan Harmon. I've met him, been on the old Harmontown, had to talk back and forth with him. I made an entire video where I went and I stole all his friends and I made him perform for me. So yeah, you want to talk about Community? I know, but I like saying it out loud because I love it. Just like, oh, that's so cool. That's dope, man. I always hope Dan's listening to this, but I know he's not. He's busy. Schraub's listening to it. Actually, Rob and I are good friends on Facebook, so he probably does listen to this. Oh my god, I just realized that. Hey, Rob. Now I'm trying to think how to wrap it up or bring it back around to things. No, we're not gonna talk. We're not gonna talk about anything else. I'm trying to end it. Yeah, that is really. I've already ended it in essence. Where is Tremors queer? The answer is yes. I think even my guests will agree with me. Everyone that's popped in and out that was paying attention of some kind is Tremors queer. Pretty much. No, we're not going to talk about Halloween Town or Smart House, Edwin, which are still great. Totally queer though. It's as queer as the Mummy, and I think those fans that are trans and gay and everything in between, they all need to be accepted, and they're a valid part of this as much as anybody else. furries. I always leave you out. I'm sorry, guys. Man, yeah, you really are, and I thank you. If I'm gonna do my bow from the fifth to kind of sort of end this. And I just want to say that whether or not you are of a queer variety, what you can take from Tremors means a lot more than what anyone can give to you about it. If the story grabs you in such a way that you feel that being sexually devoured by a graboid or shrieker or an ass blaster is something that you're into, or it's not. Those are equally valid opinions. As much so as Burt Gummer having a chubby as he's firing away. Yeah, and you can't tell me that Reba wasn't wet as a Reba wasn't as wet as a swimming pool. I bet her panties were dripping. uh, I'm not even stoned. I actually haven't really been able to smoke weed in a while. Because it's been fucking with me. My family's been off my shit, and they like smoking weeds made me kind of really paranoid. So I haven't really been able to smoke much. So I'm not. Um. Oh, it's a sex joke. Bone with meat on it. I just got that too. So I'm not even. These jokes aren't even me being high and stoned and laughing at it. Previous episodes they might be though, because that definitely happens a lot. But I mean it. If you want a giant graboid to come up and eat you whole, well, I think you should be served on a dinner platter and just gobble you up. It's a good time. Uh, and if you feel the need to hate somebody for their sexual variety in life, you maybe you need to evaluate some things. If I see porn of a graboid fucking another graboid, I don't think I need to beat my meat to it. Yeah, but you know what? I'm not going to stop someone else from doing it too. Let each person have their own good time. Um, God, I should send this to Bo. Like I said, I really do love that guy. Fucking man. Acceptance, 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 acceptance. Oh, I hope the reading has meat to it. It did. Oh, thanks, Conan. Thank you. I'm glad it had meat to it. There was some meat in the bone. There really was. There really fucking was. um, it really was. God, that was cool. That was a great. Damn, guys. Thank you. Thank you for being here for the. Uh, it's not about invalid. I understand. It was about the discussion to get there and understand why we do this in general. And I think we all did. I think we really did. Um, I have something I wanted to end with. I mean, really end with, because the TikTok graboid, I just love that man so much. Daniel, wherever you're at, I really appreciate you. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. I got two of them here. God, I got a voice too. I'm always so scared when I do these. So for like, this is going to they may take our lives, but they will never take our tremors. But I wanted to do the Lord of the Rings one a little bit here, just to. Sons of Perfection. No, I got. Actually, hold on. Oop, I got. Sons of Perfection. Women of Bixby. I see in your eyes the same fear that would take me on this day. And a day will come when we forsake all bonds of tremorship A day of broken graboids and shattered guns. When when the courage of Tremors fans fails. But it is not this day. I ask you, I bid you stand with me and ride, people of perfection, for this day. I'm fucking it up. God damn it. I had it written down and I'm fucking it up. By all that you hold dear, I bid you stand with me, Tremmies, and ride. Ride with me, people of perfection! Stand with me for Stampede. I fucked it up. I totally fucked that up. Right. God damn it. I even had it written down. I was like, I'm going to do... God damn it. Well, I'm going to try... you know what? Fuck it. Listen! Listen! Watch Tremors and you'll live. But when you lie in your bed tonight, would you be willing to trade every day from this day to the next for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell Universal, you may take our lives, but you will never take our Tremors! For Tremors! For Tremors! Superstars! Like I said, I was wanting to do that the whole time. I just had to have fun with it and end it. But now in the end, so as I like to do, I haven't thanked a lot of people in a long time. So if you've listened this far, there's 2 people in the chat. I gotta thank them both alphabetically because you've both been important. Conan, Howard, the Sumerian, and Edwin Bank. Thank you both for joining this discussion and actually trying to bounce back. Give me some meat to the reading. And I know we kind of got lost in our comments there in the middle, but it was so good to see that not necessarily that you disagreed with me, but that you had something to say. That there was something that we were talking about here that actually meant enough for you to want to say something back. That's huge. That's the whole point of this. That's the whole point of discussion. It's what we're doing here. That's fucking what it's all about, man. You cannot get anything solved at all until you start discussing it. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. That's why I hate Universal, because they literally told Stampede, we're not even going to discuss it. You're gone. We're not even going to have any more talks about you joining Tremors again. We're going to ignore you and goodbye. And I do got to say this, because Edwin, you were in the last one. Glenn Maddock has still been a dick, and Steve and Brent, if you're listening, I want you to know that Glenn Maddock doesn't give a fuck about you, man. He doesn't give a fuck about Stampede Entertainment. He is only out for himself to fucking suck Universal's dick and make money and movies via Universal Studios. That is it. I'm so pissed right now. I didn't want to keep talking about this, but I'm so pissed at Glenn Maddock right now because he literally was blocking discussion, was blocking news about that reading that came out. The blank slate reading that was in Chicago. I tried sharing that to the Tremors group that he's in, that he mods. That's not the official one. That's another one. Like the official one is like 17,000 people, and this other one that he has is like 4,000 people. And I was literally sharing it from Steve Wilson himself to that page, and he blocked it down. He literally was like, "No, we're not going to ignore." Clamped it. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Like I said in the last one with Edwin, that it's like, man, you know what, Glenn, I'd love to like work with you and like we'd be on the rock together, but you can get eaten, man. You've become Melvin. Get eaten. You're not even deserving of a redemption arc. Get eaten, bro. That you would do that to your brother. That you're like, he's literally trying to make a script after everything and make something that's not Tremors related. And you fucking do that. Fuck you. Fucking fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Oh, I am so pissed. Oh, man. I am, and I know Conan's like, what? What is happening? If you want to know what's happening, listen to the last 45 minutes or so of Joss Whedon can eat a buffet of graboid shaped dicks. Because I go into it. Like, Glenn Maddock has been a dick to everybody that's liking Tremors in a way that he doesn't like it. He is all of these things that I've been fucking talking about with the shitty people. And it's like, he needs to fucking go, man. You are doing nothing for your fucking. You should be scared, Edwin, because I'm pissed. I am so pissed right now. Oh, I am, man. And what's even worse is that I have personally still been talking to Steve. I am still emailing him, still talking to him, working on that new script with him that he's doing. I'm about this close from getting a producer job with Steve to help him do that so we can put out that script as a play instead of a movie. And Glenn's fucking blocking it. Glenn's fucking blocking it. Glenn's fucking fucking, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Oh, how could you do that to your brother? How could you do that to him after all that time? Oh. It's not even about IP laws. No, no, no. Glenn is doing this. He's in cozy with the Universal Studios people, and he's trying to get a job with them. And so he doesn't want any kind of implication that he has anything to do with the Stampede Entertainment side. And he's fucking playing a game, and he's twisting everybody around, and it's just like, you fucking, and I can't do anything to stop it. Oh, I'm so mad. Because, like, I want to bring it up to Steve, but I don't want to break his heart that way. Like, I can't, like, I'm about to bring it up to Matt Wilson. I've actually been messaging Matt, and I'm about that close to be like, what do you know about Glenn Maddock? Because I want to fucking smack his ass. Fucking smack it. So I want to thank Steve Wilson and Brent Maddock. Like I said, they put together a great, great script. And Edwin and Conan, I'm technically not allowed to share it. Like big wise, but I can send you a link to a reading of their newest script. There's a bunch of train noises and airplane noises in the background, and there's a jazz band playing, and it's really fucking loud. But you can still, I cranked up the volume when I edited it, and you can still hear it. You can still get the whole play. I've listened to it 4 times already, like since the last Thursday. Just like you can still get it. So if you want it, if you want in, you got your in. I'll be your in. Because fuck you, Glenn. Fucking. Fuck. And the worst part is that Glenn is doing this all after Steve's dad just died. Like, what a dick, man. Fucking Steve Wilson is grieving, and your response is to hide him away and not let him get his word out. Like, I was the only, like, it was, I didn't mean to be like this, but like, Caitlin and I were the only people that really showed up for that weren't a part of like the group that was doing it already, that weren't like husbands and wives of the people who were reading the play on stage. Caitlin and I were the only people who showed up for the reading of the guys who made Short Circuit and Tremors and The Land Before Time and Heart and Souls and City Slickers and Wild Wild West. Like, we were the only ones who got to show up for it, and it kills me because as much, and I got to spend personal time with Steve, actually like talk to him and stuff, so it's not like I lost out, but my heart did, because it's like, you guys should have, this should have been packed. You should have had all these seats filled, and not just me and my wife coming from 4 hours away to see it. There's tons of Tremors fans in Chicago that would have seen that in that group and fucking come and seen it. But nope, Glenn Maddock likes to suck Universal's dick, so that's what we're fucking getting. And Steve, if you're listening, God, I want you to know that, man. I'm not trying to be mean now, but I'm not holding back either. Because I even messaged Glenn after he did it and was like, do you think that this is appropriate? And I sent him a picture of me with Steve Wilson. And been like, I met Steve, and like, what is wrong with you? And just, he's ignored me. He's literally ignored me. The man has been messaging me back for the last 2 years about everything Tremors, and he's finally fucking ignoring me when I call him out for something. I'm just so pissed. I was trying to thank people, and I got really off track there. But I will send that to you guys both. Fuck you, Glenn. God. But Steve, Brent, Ron, and Nancy, thank you. Thank you for making a movie and television series that will stand the test of time. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Edwin, if you didn't know, Edwin himself is also starting up a podcast there, a podcast and a YouTube channel. I feel like I helped push you there, buddy, because I love your reviews. I don't like Jeepers Creepers. It's kind of too much for me, but that doesn't mean I didn't love enjoying you watch it. You made me. I haven't rewatched Final Destination, but you gave me that itch to really. I do love Final Destination, and you just made me want to rewatch it all again. Even the one with the good shit. Good shit. I want to thank the Sons and Shadows cast. They were retweeting me today. I really appreciate Jeff and Kevin. Got to have another crossover episode with you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, the Horror Queers podcast. You guys even retweeted what I was talking about today, which is thank you again. Like I said, I really enjoyed what you guys were doing, so thank you for giving it that love and going that far. I'm trying to think of. Run for Your Lives podcast. They just put out a Tremors 5 episode, and they were asking like if we can help them get them some interviews for the new Tremors Film Festival that's happening. Guys, I'd love to. I'm gonna be seeing if I can't work on that myself personally. I know that Michael Gross is gonna be there. I know that Charlotte Stewart is gonna be there. Kevin Bacon is a maybe. Right now, and I know Steve is a yes. Steve is a definite yes because he lives in Arizona and he's right there. Brent Maddox a maybe on that one. Brent's become and this is where I'm mad at Glenn. Brent's become a bit of a recluse lately, and I've kind of been wondering maybe it's because his brother has been sucking the life energy out of him and feeding him lies into his brain and making him feel worse all the time. Like, fuck you. Give me some more Brent Maddox. I would love more Brent Maddox interviews. That guy gets pissed. That guy hates Hollywood systems, like hates corporate culture of that. Like, just hates it. It's great to listen to when he doesn't like when he goes off. It's good shit. Run for Your Lives. The Doom Generation. They're another great podcast to listen to. Spooky Tuesdays. That's another great podcast with a Tremor episode. That TikTok graboid, Daniel Trujillo, if you're listening, man, that Braveheart thing that you made of me, like, I fucking love it, dude. Like, I was making a joke on that podcast episode, and to see my name, my full name, doing that with Mel Gibson underneath, and then the Tremors community, fuck yeah, man. I will die for you people. I will. This is my stand. This is my final stand against all of this. I appreciate the fuck out of you. And yeah, Edwin, Glenn, and Brent, it's like the evil twin stereotype. Yeah, very much so. Even Michael Gross. Actually, Michael Gross was reaching out and communicating, and we were able to. Thank you, man. I was glad that we could help you connect with Steve because Michael didn't know about Bob dying, and I was able to like, hey, man, you should know about this. Like, let's find this out. That made me really happy. Zoran from Low Carb Comedy, you're always helping out and stuff. I thank you so much for listening. And again, you're my next podcast guest. I know that you got your wedding that you're doing or whatever, but you are still on my list. And on the same vein, Octavio Lopez San Juan, been watching and listening, and I gotta get him back on. I gotta get him on. He's writing a new Tremors book about Tremors from 2015 till now. I got to get him on. He's like there. What podcast, Edwin? Please tell me. And Leela Lee, she's been reaching out more. That's actually, I don't know if she's listening, but Leela Lee as Jody Chang from Tremors. Thank you for reaching out to all of us more. Baby Fark McGeezax is back on Imager, yo. It's so good to see him. I can't even begin to like that. If you don't follow Baby Fark Imgur on Twitter, please follow him right now. He is the dude that created Burt Gummer Day through intergalactic quality gifts alone. And then he got it stolen from him, and he needs every bit of credit that he can. And he needs a gift making job. He needs a goddamn gift making job. It needs to happen already. Please and thank you. Sign off. Um, Burt Gummer meme stash guy. The other Levi that loves Tremors. Thank you, dude. I know you've been kind of bowing out lately, but it's thank you for being a good person in terms of all of that Burt Gummer stuff. It's really super important. Um, I think we'll work in the way here. Um, Brett Jeffries and Hannah Jeffries of Podcasting to Perfection and How Do You Do podcast too. It's just another great one. They literally just interview people about their jobs, which is really fucking fascinating. Sex workers to IT guys. Like, wow, How Do You Do podcast? Check it out, and then also check out Podcasting to Perfection, the other Tremors podcast. Which is that the other does not mean it's any less than mine is just simply more comprehensive because I'm fucking insane. But it's like there's good shit. They're much better comedians than I am, so they actually try to work jokes into stuff. Uh, that way, mine is just all off the cuff, as we've all discovered. And I always have my last person that I want to thank, but I want to make sure I got everybody else in between. You know, as much as my family sucks, I do love you, and I thank you guys for being there. If you're listening, I know my mom has been listening, as I said at the beginning, so thank you. If you managed to get to this, Jesus Christ, if you listen to this whole thing, oh, my mom is going to listen to this. That's great. Thank you, Mom. I love you. I know you hate me, Dad, but I still love you too. Lacey, I know you hate me too, but I still kind of love you. And to my nephews, Sean Day, Chantrell, Samaje, and Shamar, and the new one on the way. I love you guys all so much. If I die, I want you all to be able to look at this and know that I've never stopped loving you. I'm always there for you. I started this crusade of Tremors because I knew I could never show Tremors 7 to my nephew Samaje because he loves Tremors so much, and I could never, ever, ever, ever show him what they did to Burt Gummer. Even if it's a lie, even if it'll get retconned, even if Michael Gross didn't want it and it was forced on him, I just can't do that. I can't do that. So all of this whole podcast is just all about telling Universal to go fuck yourself and give Tremors back to the right people. And resurrect Michael Gross. He's not dead. Although, Jesus, what the fuck was that Fred Ward thing that happened today? I know I'm doing thanks and everything. What the fuck? Fuck a bunch of news outlets, everything. What is happening? That like you're reporting on this twice? Eat a bunch of dicks, people. Let the man die in peace. Really, that was making me sad. That was some sad shit, man. Like that. What in the fuck? What in the fuck? Folks. Like I get people like learning about something for the first time, but for a news outlet to like literally put out there a second story about him dying as if it happened recently, get out. Get the fuck out. That was a bunch of bullshit. Oh, and I know who I really want to thank on the last end of this. Matt Wilson. Dude, you're pretty cool, man. I did not expect to meet you that night. I thought it was your dad. And it was so cute when your dad like brought you over to introduce you to me as if he was introducing two of his kids to each other. It was really weird, but it was so adorable that our first bonding moment was over how Heart and Soul should have made $80 million instead of the $6 million it made. That was adorable. And then thank you for what you did. You're a better person than Glenn fucking Maddock, and he's the one pretending to be a good person. Fucker. But thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt Wilson. You're dope, dude. And on my final one, as I always do, I want to thank Caitlin Marie Lutt Burzloff, the person who gives me the strength to do this every time. really hard to do this podcast. I can't even begin to express it. But without her, there would be none of this. There would be no Talking Tremors. And I have to thank her every fucking time. She's the only one that ever gets a full thank you at the end of every single episode because she has deserved it. And I love you, Caitlin. Oh my God, she did hear me. She did. Oh my God, I love you too. That was cute. Okay. Yeah. And thank you all again. As always, I am Levi Dillenberg Laughlett. Find me everywhere you can find that name. This is Talking Tremors. Thank you to the Tremor Saga people for letting me be on your channel. I promise not to use it for anything else besides doing these live videos. This is already hard enough. Thank you for everything you do, putting TikToks out there, for putting these videos out there. Thank you for everything you do on Twitter. Like, none of shit, man. None of us would be here without that fucking shit, man. Like, thank you. And yeah, thank you all. Thank you everybody that's listening. I hope you have a great night. I hope you have a great life. And go get your dick sucked off by some grab boys.